Chapter 422. Lu Yiping circled the space around Taurus Longjiao's remnant energy for a long time, but he did not find any other clues. It seemed like the other party had handled the matter well. The only thing he could confirm was that something had happened to Taurus Longjiao. Lu Yiping's expression was ugly. He searched for a while more before leaving to continue to the fourth level of the ancient frigid abyss. According to his guess, Taurus Longjiao should still be alive, but was captured by the other party. It was very likely that the other party was still in the ancient frigid abyss. Therefore, as long as he followed the ancient frigid abyss, there was still hope of finding Taurus Longjiao. However, when Lu Yiping reached the seventh level, he still did not find any trace of Taurus Longjiao. Finally, Lu Yiping reached the eighth level. Just as Lu Yiping reached the eighth level, the creation tree in his body shook violently, flickering with light. Ever since Lu Yiping regained the vitality of the creation tree, it had never trembled like this. Lu Yiping was delighted. The main body of the creation tree was indeed in the ancient frigid abyss. Only if the main body of the creation tree was here would the creation tree react so violently. If it was the creation tree, no matter how many pieces there were, the creation tree would not react so violently. Lu Yiping suppressed the excitement in his heart and flew in the direction of the creation tree's reaction. Finally, he arrived in front of an ancient divine mountain. This primordial divine mountain was completely black in color, and it was covered in layers of black ice. These black ice shone with a chilling luster. Under the shocking cold chi of the eighth level of the ancient frigid abyss, the black ice's hardness was comparable to many ancient divine metals. Moreover, it emitted a heart-palpitating black smoke. The cold chi turned into smoke, showing how cold the black ice was. If some immortal emperor experts came into contact with the black ice, they would be instantly frozen by the black ice cold chi. Lu Yiping did not look at the ancient divine mountain. Instead, he looked at the shocking spatial rifts on the top of the mountain. These spatial rifts ranged from a few meters to a few hundred meters. There were tens of thousands of spatial rifts of various sizes, covering the sky above the ancient divine mountain. It was a shocking sight. An astonishing suction force came from these spatial rifts. Even though Lu Yiping was only near the ancient divine mountain, he could feel the terrifying suction force. Lu Yiping estimated that even a Saint Realm expert would find it difficult to escape once they were sucked in. At that time they would drift forever in the chaotic space. The creation's main body was inside one of the spatial rifts. Lu Yiping didn't dare to be careless. The auspicious cloud hovered above his head, and at the same time, he circulated the immortal skyward art. Light swirled around Lu Yiping's body as he soared into the air, arriving in front of the spatial tear. Immediately, a horrifying suction force made Lu Yiping's figure unsteady for a while. Even the light flowing around Lu Yiping's body was torn apart by this terrifying suction force. Lu Yiping stabilized his body with great difficulty. Looking around, he saw great turbulence everywhere. Even with his eyesight as a saint, it was difficult for him to see far. Even his eye of thunder punishment could not see through the layers of space here. Even the power of his soul was greatly suppressed here. There was a supreme power here. Even the power of a saint was weak in the face of this supreme power. If Lu Yiping had not been certain that the creation's main body was in the deepest part of this space, he would have turned around and left when he saw the gray turbulence in front of him. Although saints of Tao validation lived as long as the heavens and were almost immortal, it did not mean that saints of Tao validation were immortal. In the universe, there were many powers above saints of Tao validation. Lu Yiping used the creation's senses to break through the layers of turbulence and carefully flew forward. As he flew forward, the creation in his body vibrated more and more violently. After flying like this for several hours, Lu Yiping stopped and looked at the scene in front of him in shock. In the void in front of him, there was an unimaginably huge tree standing between heaven and earth. This tree's trunk was as big as a continent. He could not see the bottom of the tree, nor could he see the top of the tree. The giant tree stood between heaven and earth, eternal and indestructible. Lu Yiping had previously imagined the size of the creation's main body, but now that he saw it with his own eyes, he was still shocked. This tree's trunk was as big as a continent. No wonder there were legends of prehistoric races and primordial gods living and reproducing here. While Lu Yiping was shocked, he also could not hide his excitement. If his creation fused with the main body of the creation, then to what extent would his creation grow? Right now, his creation was 400,000 meters. If his creation fused with the main body of the creation, its growth would definitely be more than 10 times. It might even grow to 10 million feet. 100 million feet. Not 10 million feet. If it was 100 million feet, then how many levels would his immortal skyward art have? 100 million feet, what kind of concept was that? Lu Yiping took a deep breath and called out the creation in his body. The creation flew out of his body in joy. Immediately, the creation flew towards the main body of the creation like a wild horse. In the past, when the creation swallowed and fused with the tree chunks, it would suck them all over. But this time, it took the initiative to fly towards the main body of the creation. And when it arrived in front of the main body of the creation, it actually took the initiative to fuse with the main body of the creation. Lu Yiping was stunned. As the creation fused with the main body of the creation, the lifeless main body of the creation suddenly bloomed with rays of light. Moreover, the rays of light grew stronger and stronger. In the beginning, it was only a section of the tree that was emitting light. But soon, the rays of light extended to the main body of the creation at an astonishing speed. It was the top and bottom of the creation. The entire main body of the creation was glowing with vitality. This continued for about an hour. The creation in his body and the main body of the creation had completely fused together. The main body of the creation shone brightly, and the profound yellow aura roiled like a river. Moreover, the profound yellow aura began to transform. Layer by layer, it transformed into a higher grade of gas. Grand Mist Aura. Lu Yiping exclaimed in surprise as he watched the profound yellow aura transform layer by layer. Grand Mist Aura was one of the strongest types of gas at the beginning of the universe. With Grand Mist Aura, he could quickly break through to the True Sage realm and become an existence surpassing the True Sage realm. In the end, all of the profound yellow aura transformed into Grand Mist Aura. The main body of the creation grew thousands of new branches. Between the branches, the veins on the leaves formed pages of the immortal skyward art's mental cultivation method. Previously, the creation had only revealed the 12th layer of the immortal skyward art's mental cultivation method. Now, the 49 layers of the immortal skyward art's mental cultivation method were revealed one by one. Looking at the 30-plus layers of the immortal skyward art's mental cultivation method, Lu Yiping's heart was filled with excitement. He was unable to calm down for a long time. Under Lu Yiping's control, the creation that had fused with the main body of the creation flew towards him. Chapter 423. When the Jianshu flew towards Lu Yiping, it was as if a continent was moving. Shockwaves rolled out and the Grand Mist Aura rolled out like a boundless ocean. When the Jianshu arrived in front of Lu Yiping was like an insignificant speck of dust in front of the Jianshu. Lu Yiping looked at the Jianshu and was even more certain that the immemorial heavenly emperor had used the heaven-splitting divine axe, or the earth-splitting chisel to chop off the Jianshu. With the Jianshu's current terrifying defense, only the heaven-splitting divine axe or the earth-splitting chisel could cut it. It seemed like the heaven-splitting divine axe or the earth-splitting chisel were in the hands of the immemorial heavenly emperor. However, if the immemorial heavenly emperor had such supreme treasures, why was the immemorial heavenly court invaded by the long-armed divine ape race and the Yin-Yang voodoo race? Or was there a hidden reason? As Lu Yiping pondered, he shrunk the Jianshu to the size of a palm and landed in his hand. The palm-sized Jianshu in Lu Yiping's hand blossomed with layers of radiance. The Grand Mist Aura was so dense that it couldn't be dissolved. However, Lu Yiping could feel that the Jianshu in front of him wasn't at its peak. After all, it had been chopped off by the heaven-splitting divine axe or the earth-splitting chisel. Even if it had recovered its vitality, there was still a gap between it and its peak. Moreover, there were definitely many pieces in the hands of the Yin-Yang voodoo race or in other places. Yin-Yang voodoo race. Lu Yiping thought of the Yin-Yang voodoo race and his eyes became indifferent. Now he was waiting for the Yin-Yang voodoo race's holy lord to appear. The Jianshu seeped into Lu Yiping's palm and entered Lu Yiping's body. After putting the Jianshu back into his body, Lu Yiping went back the way he came. He wasn't in a hurry to cultivate the immortal skyward art. He first looked for the Taurus Longjiao. He had a feeling that the Taurus Longjiao was still in the immemorial cold abyss. However, a few hours later, when Lu Yiping returned to the spatial entrance, He was dumbfounded. The spatial entrance had disappeared. Lu Yiping scanned his surroundings, bewildered. He couldn't have misremembered the spatial entrance's location, but how could it have disappeared? Could it be that this spatial entrance could move on its own? The more Lu Yiping thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. The more he thought about it, the darker his expression became. Spatial entrances that could move were extremely rare, but they did exist. If he couldn't find the spatial entrance, he would be trapped here forever. Although he was a Tao-confirming sage was not omnipotent. With this in mind, Lu Yiping activated his Eye of Thunder Punishment and saw through the layers of space in an attempt to find a way out. But in this space, his Eye of Thunder Punishment was greatly restricted, and he couldn't see through the layers of space. In the end, Lu Yiping had no choice but to summon the Jianshu. He urged the Jianshu's millions of roots to pierce into the deepest part of the space, carefully sensing the changes in this space. With the help of the Jianshu's millions of roots, Lu Yiping sensed the subtle changes in this space. A few days later, he finally found the spatial entrance. A few days later, Lu Yiping came out of the spatial entrance, feeling relieved. After coming out of the space, Lu Yiping continued to fly deeper into the 8th layer. However, he didn't find the Taurus Longjiao until he reached the 10th layer of the immemorial cold abyss. Lu Yiping had no choice but to withdraw from the immemorial cold abyss after his fruitless search on the 10th layer. After exiting the immemorial cold abyss, Lu Yiping thought for a while and came to the largest city nearby. He then asked the 7 Treasures Chamber of Commerce, the #1 merchant association in the immortal world, to help him find the location of the Taurus Longjiao. After learning that it was Lu Yiping, the president of the 7 Treasures Chamber of Commerce hurriedly rushed over and personally promised Lu Yiping that he would use all the resources of the 7 Treasures Chamber of Commerce to help Lu Yiping find the location of the Taurus Longjiao. After that, Lu Yiping cultivated the immortal skyward art while waiting for news from the 7 Treasures Chamber of Commerce. Not long after the news circulated out, the overlord of the immortal world, Vast Heaven, wanted to gather the experts of the myriad realms for the convention of the myriad realms. When this news circulated out, a huge commotion occurred. I heard that many world overlords from the Dragon World, Divine World, Thunder World, Radiant World and Underworld have led their subordinates and rushed over to the immortal world. The convention of the myriad realms, the experts of the myriad realms will gather in the immortal world. How shocking would that scene be? The last time the convention of the myriad realms was held was 5 million years ago, right? In the countless cities of the immortal world, everyone was discussing the convention of the myriad realms. Although the Immortality Peach Banquet organized by the Queen Mother was also a rare event in the immortal world, it was still much inferior when compared to the convention of the myriad realms. The Immortality Peach Banquet invited experts from all over the immortal world. As for the convention of the myriad realms, it was a gathering of all the experts of the myriad realms. As the news of the convention of the myriad realms spread out, the immortal world started to become more lively. Lu Yiping sat cross-legged under the tree and focused on cultivating the immortal skyward art. He didn't care about what was happening in the outside world. Time flowed by. The date of the convention of the myriad realms gradually approached. Experts from the various realms traversed through the universe and arrived in the immortal world. The immortal world grew more and more lively. When Lu Yiping was focused on cultivating the immortal skyward art, the president of the 7 Treasures Chamber of Commerce reported to him that they found out that the overlord of the immortal world, Vast Heaven, led a group of experts from the heavenly court into the ancient frigid abyss. Oh, Vast Heaven entered the ancient frigid abyss a few days ago? Did you find out why they entered the ancient frigid abyss? Lu Yiping stood up. The president of the 7 Treasures Chamber of Commerce respectfully replied, "We found out that after Vast Heaven and the others entered the ancient frigid abyss, they fought against the long-armed divine ape race. As for why they fought, we have yet to find out." The long-armed divine ape race is in the ancient frigid abyss? Lu Yiping started. Yes. After the heavenly court was destroyed, the long-armed divine ape race went into seclusion in the 9th level of the ancient frigid abyss. The president of the 7 Treasures Chamber of Commerce replied. After that, Lu Yiping asked a few more questions regarding the long-armed divine ape race in Vast Heaven. Lu Yiping's eyes flashed. Although he couldn't be sure that Taurus Longjiao's disappearance was related to Vast Heaven, It was too much of a coincidence that Taurus Longjiao went missing on the second day after Vast Heaven entered the ancient frigid abyss. A while later, Lu Yiping soared into the air, leaving the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce as he flew towards the headquarters of the Heavenly Court. From the president of the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce, he learned that Vast Heaven entered the ancient frigid abyss with all the marshals of the Heavenly Court following him. Hence, whether Taurus Longjiao's disappearance was related to Vast Heaven or not, he would be able to find out after reading the memories of any of the marshals of the Heavenly Court. Lu Yiping stared in the direction of the Heavenly Palace as his eyes turned cold. Vast Heaven, let's hope that Xiao Jin's disappearance has nothing to do with you. Otherwise, after the convention of the Myriad Realms, the Heavenly Court of the immortal world would cease to exist. As Lu Yiping continued to fly, the Heavenly Palace of the immortal world gradually appeared in his vision. Right now it was already noon. The sun shone brightly, illuminating the Heavenly Palace of the Heavenly Court. Among the countless palaces in the Heavenly Court, there were many streets that resembled bridges. This was the Heavenly Street, and on the two sides of the Heavenly Street, there were various merchant associations, clans, and sections. Usually, the Heavenly Street would be extremely lively. It was the most lively place in the immortal world. Now that the convention of the Myriad Realms was about to begin, the Heavenly Street was even more lively. Glancing over, there were experts from the various worlds everywhere. There were experts from the immortal world, Dragon World, Divine World, Thunder World, Buddha World. Lu Yiping landed on the Heavenly Street. Chapter 424. Lu Yiping landed on the Heavenly Street and followed the flow of people. Because the convention of the Myriad Realms was approaching, the number of heavenly soldiers patrolling the Heavenly Street increased by several times. Just as Lu Yiping followed the flow of people, he suddenly heard the people in front whispering to each other. Someone is fighting in front. It seems like someone from the Heaven Origin sect has offended Ma Shuai's son. Right now he is being slapped by Ma Shuai's son. The people from the Heaven Origin sect are really unlucky. They actually offended Ma Shuai's son. The discussion in front entered Lu Yiping's ears. Lu Yiping's expression sank. The Heaven Origin sect was a sect established by his eldest disciple. However, very few people knew about this. Lu Yiping walked to the front and parted the crowd that was so packed that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Ma Rong was Ma Teng's second son. At this moment, he was letting two of his subordinates grab the arms of a disciple from the Heaven Origin sect. After that, he was slapping that disciple's face. Under Ma Rong's frenzied slaps, that disciple's face was completely deformed. Although Lu Yiping's eldest disciple wasn't weak, he was only at the peak of the late-stage Empyrean realm and had yet to enter the Saint realm. Although the Heaven Origin sect's influence in the immortal world wasn't weak, when compared to Ma Teng, who was the head marshal of the Heavenly Court, they were much weaker. Hence, when that disciple learned that the person he offended was Ma Rong, he didn't dare to resist. He stood there and allowed Ma Rong to slap him. Just as Ma Rong was about to continue slapping, his hand was suddenly grabbed by someone. Ma Rong wanted to pull his hand out, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't. He couldn't help but turn his head in anger and cursed, "Who the hell is courting death?" When he turned his head, he saw a blue-robed young man holding his hand and looking at him with an indifferent expression. That gaze caused Ma Rong to feel fear in his heart. Ma Rong roared in anger at the guards beside him. "Are you all dead? What are you all in a daze for? Kill this brat for me." Ma Rong's guards regained their senses. However, when Ma Rong's guards rushed to Lu Yiping, all of them were engulfed in golden flames and were swallowed up in the blink of an eye. Ma Rong's group of guards screamed miserably, but in the blink of an eye, they were incinerated cleanly, not even ashes remained. When the surrounding experts saw this, they were all shocked. Among Ma Rong's 40 to 50 guards, almost all of them were immortal emperors. Moreover, there were a few invincible immortal emperors, but they were all incinerated in an instant. Ma Rong was stunned for a moment before his expression changed. Lu Yiping's eyes were cold. He exerted force and crushed Ma Rong's hand. Then, he grabbed Ma Rong's neck and asked, "Is Ma Teng in the residence right now?" Ma Rong was both shocked and angry. Even in the face of Lu Yiping's murderous gaze, he did not dare to speak harshly. With a frightened expression, He repeatedly nodded and said that he was at the marshal's residence. Lu Yiping flicked his finger and sent Ma Rong flying. In midair, Ma Rong turned into a bloody mist. Everyone was stunned. This included that disciple from the Heavenly Origin sect. Lu Yiping ignored everyone. He soared through the air and flew towards Ma Teng's martial residence. Ma Teng was a Grand Marshal of the Heavenly Court and was also the head Grand Marshal. Hence, his martial residence was located in the central region of the Heavenly Palace. It occupied a vast area and was incomparably majestic, incomparably dazzling. When Lu Yiping arrived at the martial residence, he saw that Ma Teng's residence was extremely lively. There was an endless stream of people who came to pay their respects. As the head Grand Marshal of the Heavenly Court, Ma Teng was also the right-hand man of vast heaven. Hence, when the experts of the various worlds came to participate in the convention of the myriad realms, almost all of them came to pay their respects to Ma Teng. Leaving aside the fact that Ma Teng was at the peak of the late phase of the Saint Ascension realm, just the fact that Ma Teng was extremely popular with vast heaven, who wouldn't want to curry favor with him? At this moment, Ma Teng was currently in the Great Hall of the martial residence, receiving the experts of the various worlds who came to pay their respects. His face was filled with radiance. Lu Yiping stepped out and walked towards the entrance of Ma Teng's martial residence. When he arrived at the entrance of the martial residence, Lu Yiping was stopped by Ma Teng's subordinates. Ma Teng's subordinate asked Lu Yiping if he had an invitation. When Lu Yiping said that he didn't, the expression of Ma Teng's subordinate sank. Just when he was about to ask Lu Yiping to move aside and not block the path of the people behind him, Lu Yiping suddenly punched out. The fist waves gushed forth, directly blasting the entrance of Ma Teng's martial residence away. After that, the fist waves blasted through numerous fake mountains and courtyards, heading straight for the depths of the martial residence. Ma Teng was currently chatting and laughing with the experts of the various worlds who came to pay their respects when he suddenly heard a thunderous boom. The entire martial residence trembled as a series of screams rang out. He couldn't help but stand up in shock. In the Great Hall, the people seated there were all peak characters of the various worlds. When they heard the thunderous boom, all of them had looks of shock on their faces. Just as Ma Teng stood up in shock, Ma Teng and the group of experts in the Great Hall saw a massive fist imprint blasted towards the Great Hall at an alarming speed. Ma Teng didn't have time to think. With a loud roar, he punched out with both fists. Saint energy billowed as he met the incoming fist imprint head-on. But in the blink of an eye, the massive fist imprint shattered his fist imprint and wrapped around Ma Teng at an unbelievable speed. Before Ma Teng could react, he was already sent flying by the fist waves. Lu Yiping's fist imprint wrapped around Ma Teng and blasted through the Great Hall. Then it blasted through layers of palaces, and finally Ma Teng's martial residence. Originally, in the inner hall, some people like Ma Teng who tried to block the fist imprint with their hands were also sent flying. Looking down from the sky, one could see that Ma Teng's martial residence was plowed into a large empty path. Some of the experts in the Great Hall who managed to escape the calamity stared blankly at Ma Teng, who was sent flying. Amidst the billowing dust, Lu Yiping walked into the martial residence. The saint of heaven and earth. Someone in the crowd recognized Lu Yiping and exclaimed in surprise. As soon as the voice rang out, the faces of the experts who came from the martial residence changed drastically. They hurriedly retreated and some even knelt down. Lu Yiping didn't walk very fast. Passing through the billowing dust, he arrived in front of Ma Teng. At this time Ma Teng, who had been blasted out of the martial residence, was lying on the heavenly street on the verge of death. With Lu Yiping's current strength, even a saint like the Golden Lightning Saint Zhuling wouldn't be able to withstand even an ordinary punch, let alone Ma Teng. Although Ma Teng was the Heavenly Court's chief marshal, he was only a peak late-stage saint. Lu Yiping looked at the dying Ma Teng in front of him and picked him up. He then looked at Ma Teng's memory fragments. Indifferent expressions appeared on Lu Yiping's face after reading Massachusetts Teng's memory fragments. Sure enough, Taurus Longjiao was now in Haotian's hands and imprisoned in the Thunder Prison of Myriad Tribulation. The Thunder Prison of Myriad Tribulation was located in the depths of the Heavenly Palace, and was also the most important prison in the immortal world. Because it was located in the depths of the Heavenly Palace, it was heavily guarded and guarded by countless experts of the Heavenly Court. Therefore, no one had ever been able to rescue anyone from the thunder prison of myriad tribulation. After learning that Taurus Longjiao was imprisoned in the thunder prison of myriad tribulation, Lu Yiping snorted and flicked his finger. A great path of fire flew out and burned Ma Teng to ashes. Then, he stepped into the air and flew toward the thunder prison of myriad tribulation. Just as Lu Yiping was flying toward the thunder prison of myriad tribulation, Haotian, who was in the heavenly palace, learned that Ma Teng had been killed by Lu Yiping. Haotian's face darkened when he heard that Lu Yiping had killed Ma Teng as soon as he arrived. Lu Yiping, you're courting death. Chapter 425. After returning from the ancient cold abyss, Haotian had already completely refined the Bell of Chaos that he had taken from Yuan Kong. He had been waiting for Lu Yiping for a long time. A moment later, in the main hall of the heavenly palace, Haotian rose to the sky and flew toward the thunder prison of tribulation. At the same time, the other 15 doctrine sages who had received Haotian's order also flew up and headed for the thunder prison of tribulation. When the 15 Tao confirming saints flew toward the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation, all the heaven court's saint realm marshals led an army of hundreds of millions to seal off all the space around the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation. Hundreds of millions of heavenly army sealed off the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation. The murderous aura swept across the entire heaven palace, startling the powerful warriors from different realms. Some of them who didn't know about Ma Teng asked about what was going on. Why did the heavenly court send so many troops to seal off the thunder prison of myriad tribulation? Is there anyone who dares to break into the thunder tribulation prison? It's the Cosmos Saint. The heaven and earth saint killed Marshal Ma Teng as soon as he arrived. Now go to the thunder prison of myriad tribulation. What? Heaven and earth saint? When everyone heard this, their expressions changed greatly. Ever since Lu Yiping defeated the Confucian sage in an invincible manner at the Immortal Peach Banquet, some busybodies claimed that Lu Yiping was now the #1 expert in the immortal world. However, even if the heaven and earth saint is the strongest person in the celestial world, he's only one person. No matter how strong he is, he can't go against the entire celestial world's heavenly court. The saint of heaven and earth killed Marshal Ma Teng and broke into the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation alone. His Majesty Haotian won't let him leave. All the experts discussed. In the distance, a vast group of beautiful figures tore through the air and flew over. They were all female immortals, and there were probably 100 million of them. Although the number of female immortals couldn't compare to the hundreds of millions of soldiers of the heavenly court, each of them had an extremely powerful aura that far surpassed the heavenly soldiers and generals. The one leading the female immortals was the extremely beautiful Queen Mother of the West. After the Queen Mother arrived, she instructed the female immortals behind her. If the heaven and earth saint is no match for him, everyone get ready to fight. The group of female immortals agreed. At this moment, Lu Yiping arrived in front of the thunder tribulation prison. The lightning chi in front of him was like a sea, rolling endlessly. The lightning chi stretched as far as the eye could see, and within the lightning chi, lightning danced like dragons. Even before he got close, he could feel the terrifying destructive power contained within. Other than the rolling sea of thunder chi, there was nothing else. This was the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation. From the outside, there seemed to be no one guarding the thunder prison of myriad tribulation, but Lu Yiping knew that there were 100 saints and 100,000 celestial masters in the primal chaos array. These 100 saint realm masters and 100,000 heavenly venerables guarded the primal chaos grand array. Once an enemy invaded, they would activate the primal chaos grand array to kill them all. Lu Yiping looked at the thunder prison of myriad tribulation in front of him with a cold expression. Without summoning the auspicious cloud, he directly punched out. Instantly a terrifying power surged out. The heavenly palace's grand array was not comparable to the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation's grand array. Lu Yiping looked at the lightning bolts in the sky with a calm expression. Haotian stared at Lu Yiping, his eyes cold to the extreme. Lu Yiping, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Saying this, a light burst out above his head, and a giant bell appeared. When this giant bell appeared, the space around Lu Yiping was completely frozen in an instant. Above the giant bell, the sun, moon, and stars rotated. and the five-colored light illuminated the heavens. Even across the heavenly court's army of hundreds of millions, the masters of various worlds in the distance could see the five-colored light illuminating the heavens. The bell of chaos. The crowd cried out in surprise. Seeing the bell of chaos above Hao Tian's head, Lu Yiping was not surprised. He had already learned from Ma Teng's memories that Hao Tian had seized the bell of chaos. The bell of chaos is an invincible treasure in the universe. Hao Tian looked at Lu Yiping with the bell of chaos above his head and said, "It can reflect all weapon attacks and ignore the power of the great Tao. I am invincible. Lu Yiping, you must die today." At this point, Hao Tian summoned a 17-acre auspicious cloud, filled with holy light and auspicious light. Attack! Hao Tian poured his saint power into the bell of chaos and activated it with all his might. Instantly, the sound of a heaven-shaking bell rang out. This bell rang throughout the immortal realm, and its terrifying power completely locked down the time and space around Lu Yiping. The shocking sound of the bell waves surged toward Lu Yiping in an overwhelming manner. Just as Hao Tian attacked, the other 15 saints of the heavenly court and more than 400 saints attacked at the same time. The 15 saints of the heavenly court summoned their auspicious clouds and used their strongest attacks. More than 400 saints cooperated with the heavenly palace's formation to trigger the lightning in the sky and attack Lu Yiping. Chapter 426. When Hao Tian and the other saints attacked, all the heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals in the heavenly court's army also activated their immortal power and poured it into the heavenly palace's formation. Suddenly, the heavenly lightning that blotted out the sky rumbled and roared, striking down on Lu Yiping. Boundless heavenly lightning rained down from the sky. These heavenly lightning were activated by more than 400 saints and the heavenly court's army at the same time. One could imagine how terrifying their power was. Heaven and earth seemed to be annihilated. In the distance, the experts from various worlds were shocked when they saw the power of Hao Tian's saints and the heavenly court's army. The Queen Mother was also shocked. Just as she was about to order the female immortals to help Lu Yiping, heaven and earth suddenly trembled violently, as if something terrifying was about to break free from the shackles of heaven and earth. Lu Yiping's body glowed with golden light as great Daos flew out of his body. As the great Daos flew out of Lu Yiping's body, heaven and earth trembled even more violently. Everyone was shocked when they saw the great Daos fly out of Lu Yiping's body. Spacetime Great Tao, Immortal Great Tao, Devil Great Tao, Reincarnation Great Tao, Five Elements Great Tao. The experts from various worlds cried out involuntarily. Spacetime Great Tao was ranked 3rd. Immortal Great Tao was ranked 4th. Devil Great Tao was ranked 5th. Reincarnation Great Tao was ranked 7th. Five Elements Great Tao was ranked 10th. Lu Yiping had actually comprehended 5 of the 10 supreme Great Taos. In the myriad worlds, if any saint comprehended one of the supreme Great Taos, it would be amazing. However, Lu Yiping alone had comprehended 5. As Lu Yiping's 5 supreme Great Taos flew out, Lu Yiping's spacetime, which was originally sealed by the bell of chaos, cracked inch by inch, like invisible chains breaking apart. Lu Yiping's body was surrounded by immortals and devils. This was the power of the immortal Great Tao and the devil Great Tao. When Hao Tian saw Lu Yiping's 5 supreme Great Taos, he was equally shocked. After recovering from his shock, his face turned hideous, and the killing intent in his eyes became even sharper. Even though Lu Yiping had comprehended 5 supreme Great Taos, he was still confident that he could kill Lu Yiping within the Sky Palace array. No matter how strong Lu Yiping was, there was no way he could withstand the combined attack of 16 sages. No matter how strong Lu Yiping was, there was no way he could withstand the power of the Heaven Palace's grand formation, which was powered by billions of soldiers. After the 5 supreme Great Taos, one Great Tao after another flew out from Lu Yiping's body. In an instant there were 100 types. 100 Great Taos. Hao Tian was stunned. During the Feast of Peaches, Lu Yiping had punched the Confucian sage and revealed more than 70 Great Taos. This made Hao Tian think that Lu Yiping had only comprehended 70 Great Taos. Now that he saw that Lu Yiping had actually comprehended 100 Great Taos, his expression turned ugly. Lu Yiping, so what if you have comprehended 100 Great Taos? Hao Tian laughed hideously. Today, even the Empress Dowager can't save you. The Empress Dowager had led the female immortals here to save Lu Yiping, and Hao Tian had already seen it. Hao Tian didn't take it to heart. Although the Empress Dowager was the leader of the female immortals, the female immortals under her command were much weaker than his heavenly court. Lu Yiping's expression was calm when he heard this, and great doubts continued to fly out. Under the incredulous gazes of Hao Tian and the others, the number of great doubts around Lu Yiping reached 300 in an instant. 300 great doubts, a sage from the heavenly court said in a trembling voice. The experts from the various worlds in the distance were even more shocked. Even the Empress Dowager's beautiful eyes widened to the maximum, and her round chest heaved up and down. After 300 great doubts, the auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head flew out. 18 acres of auspicious cloud. Everyone saw the auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head and was shocked again. 18 acres of auspicious cloud was almost the limit of the sage realm. The largest auspicious cloud was 19 acres, but since ancient times, almost no one in the celestial world had been able to condense a 19-acre auspicious cloud. Lu Yiping punched out. The power of the 300 great doubts and the auspicious cloud saint power merged into his fist and surged, colliding with the power of Hao Tian's bell of chaos. Boom! The power of the bell of chaos was dispersed, but Lu Yiping's fist did not stop. It met the power of the other 15 sages of the heavenly court, and with a loud bang it broke open again. In the end, Lu Yiping's fist scattered the power of more than 400 sages of the heavenly court and blasted towards Hao Tian and the others. Dong! Lu Yiping's fist landed on the bell of chaos. Hao Tian and the others were sent flying. The power of the heavenly court's heavenly palace formation, activated by the heavenly court's army, all stopped when it reached the top of Lu Yiping's head. Endless heavenly lightning rolled and roared above Lu Yiping's head, but it could not fall, as if it had encountered an invisible realm wall. Then the heavenly lightning was lifted up by an invisible giant hand like a tray, and then shattered into billions of pieces, shooting back towards the heavenly court's army. The heavenly court's army was sent flying, screaming in pain. Hao Tian's 16 sages were sent flying into the heavenly court's army, knocking away countless heavenly court soldiers and generals. As for the more than 400 sages, they were directly turned into a bloody mist by Lu Yiping's fist. The Empress, who was about to order the female immortals to attack, stopped in her tracks, her face full of shock. The powerhouses of the various worlds were shocked. Just now, almost all of the heavenly court strength was blocked by Lu Yiping alone, and the heavenly court was completely defeated. After sending Hao Tian and the others flying with a punch, Lu Yiping took a step forward, and was already in front of Hao Tian. At this time the bell of chaos, which was shining with 5-colored light, dimmed, and the 5-colored light had dissipated, and Hao Tian vomited blood. Impossible! Hao Tian looked at Lu Yiping, his eyes full of shock and anger. He had comprehended the great Tao of destiny, had the bell of chaos, and the heavenly court sages, but still lost. Lu Yiping looked at Hao Tian. Although the bell of chaos is said to be invincible, it depends on who has it. You are too weak, you can't use the bell of chaos's power. At this point, a huge mountain appeared in Lu Yiping's hand. Mount Buzhou. Hao Tian's expression changed. Mount Buzhou in Lu Yiping's hand instantly expanded, emitting layers of chaos qi, and suddenly smashed towards Hao Tian and the others. Hao Tian frantically activated the bell of chaos. The light of the bell of chaos increased greatly, and 5-colored light fell, protecting the space around Hao Tian. Dong! Mount Buzhou smashed onto the bell of chaos, and the bell of chaos flew up, while Hao Tian was smashed into the ground by Mount Buzhou. Just as Lu Yiping said, although the bell of chaos was said to be invincible, it depended on who had it. The difference in combat strength between him and Hao Tian was too great. Even with the bell of chaos, he couldn't block Lu Yiping's attack. Just as Lu Yiping used Mount Buzhou to smash Hao Tian into the ground, a heavenly court's Tao proving sage suddenly flew up, ignoring his serious injuries, and stabbed at Lu Yiping's back with his holy weapon spear. Clang! The other party's spear stabbed Lu Yiping's back. Everyone was surprised. But before the heavenly court's people could rejoice, they saw that the sage who attacked was sent flying by Lu Yiping. Everyone looked over in shock, and saw great Tao patterns appear on Lu Yiping's body, and an unimaginably huge towering tree appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 427. Looking at this towering tree that was the size of a continent, everyone was so shocked that they couldn't shift their eyes away. Those who came to participate in the convention of the Myriad Realms were all major characters of the Myriad Realms. They had seen countless divine trees before, but this was the first time they saw such a huge tree. The number one divine tree in the universe, the creation tree. It was also known as the creation tree. Creation tree. It's really the creation tree. Lu Yiping actually recovered the vitality of the creation tree. A commotion broke out. Everyone was agitated and even excited. The Queen Mother was also stunned when she saw the creation tree. Not only did Lu Yiping recover the vitality of the creation tree, he even found the main body of the creation tree. When Haotian, who was smashed into the ground, saw the creation tree, his eyes were also filled with shock. He knew that Lu Yiping had recovered the vitality of the creation tree, but he didn't expect that the creation tree would grow to such an extent. Looking at the creation tree, Haotian, who originally still had a trace of hope, couldn't help but have a look of despair on his face. At this moment, Lu Yiping controlled the billions of roots of the creation tree and whipped them towards the Heavenly Court's army. The billions of roots of the creation tree were like divine whips. The Heavenly Court's experts were all sent flying. As for the Heavenly Court's army, they were all turned into blood mist. The roots of the creation tree were even stronger than saint weapons. In addition to Lu Yiping's infusion of saint energy, how could the Heavenly Court's army defend against it? As the billions of roots of the creation tree swept past, a large portion of the Heavenly Court's army was wiped out. This time around, more than billions of soldiers had died. Upon seeing a large portion of the Heavenly Court's army being wiped out, everyone drew in a breath of cold air. Lu Yiping's expression was cold. He transformed into a towering giant and held the creation tree in his hand, as he directly slammed it towards the Heavenly Court's army. A moment later, the creation tree rushed into the Heavenly Court's army. A large area the size of a continent was blasted open, extending all the way to the end of the Heavenly Court's army. The Celestial Court's army consisted of the Celestial Court's most elite soldiers and generals. Any one of their legions could destroy a realm. But now, half of them had been wiped out by Lu Yiping in just a few moves. The rest of the Heavenly Court army looked at Lu Yiping in horror. Although they were loyal to Lu Yiping, the power that Lu Yiping had just displayed was simply too terrifying. Suddenly, Lu Yiping's body flickered with lightning, and a sea of lightning condensed around him. The sea of lightning instantly expanded into a boundless sea of lightning, and with a roar, it surged towards the remaining Heavenly Court army. The Heavenly Court's army fled in fear. However, the Heavenly Court's army was instantly engulfed by the sea of lightning. Within a few breaths, it was completely devoured. By the time the sea of lightning stopped at the end of the sky, the rest of the Heavenly Court's army had completely disappeared. At this point, the Heavenly Court's army was completely annihilated. Lu Yiping retrieved the Jianshu and Mount Buzhou, then came in front of Haotian and pulled him out from the ground. Haotian looked at Lu Yiping, unable to hide the fear in his heart. Lord Lu. Haotian opened his mouth with difficulty. I know you're looking for the Imba Holy Lord. I can tell you everything I know about the Imba Holy Lord. Oh, the Imba Holy Lord. Lu Yiping looked at him. Seeing Lu Yiping's interest, Haotian felt hopeful and said, That's right. And I know that the Imba Holy Lord has many creation jade discs. Lu Yiping was not surprised to hear this. As the head of the Myriad Realms, the Immortal Realm not only had the strongest army, but also the strongest intelligence network. Therefore, it was normal for Haotian to know about the Imba Holy Lord. Seeing Haotian's hopeful eyes, Lu Yiping sealed his power and threw him into the cauldron of heaven and earth. If he wanted to know the whereabouts of the Imba Holy Lord, he could just search Haotian's memory fragments. Then Lu Yiping picked up the Heavenly Court's saints one by one, sealed their power, and threw them into the cauldron of heaven and earth. Of course, the Bell of Chaos, as well as their sacred artifacts and supreme treasures, were all taken away. That's it? Seeing Lu Yiping put away the Bell of Chaos, everyone could not calm down. This outcome was beyond everyone's expectations. Everyone thought that Lu Yiping would not be able to escape, But they did not expect that the heavenly court would lose, and lose so completely. More than 400 saints and hundreds of millions of soldiers were all annihilated. As for the saints of Haotian, they were all captured. After putting away the bell of chaos, Lu Yiping turned and flew toward the entrance of the Thunder Prison of Tribulation. Soon, he arrived at the entrance of the Thunder Prison of Tribulation and flashed in. Everyone looked at Lu Yiping's disappearing figure with mixed feelings. I'm afraid the immortal world is going to be in chaos. An invincible celestial venerable of the immortal world sighed. Now that the heavenly court of the immortal world had lost the saints of Haotian, the heavenly court would definitely be in chaos and the immortal world would definitely be in chaos. Moreover, the Imba race and the demon world had been eyeing the immortal world covetously. Now that the saints of Haotian were gone, the Imba race and the demon world would definitely invade the immortal world en masse. Another invincible celestial venerable said in a low voice, with the heaven and earth saint around, the Imba race and the demon world would probably not dare to invade the immortal world. If news of this battle spread, the Imba race's holy lord would definitely be too scared to come out. How would they dare to invade the immortal world unless they wanted to be killed by Lu Yiping like Haotian? The heaven and earth saint cannot stay in the immortal world forever. The invincible celestial venerable shook his head and said, when the heaven and earth saint leaves the immortal world, the Imba race's holy lord will definitely come out and cause trouble. Then he pointed to the sky and said, I heard that the heaven and earth saint actually came from there. He will definitely go back when the time comes. Everyone's expression changed. You mean the heaven and earth saint came from the chaos realm? A sect's old ancestor stammered. But the chaos realm is just a legend. Legend? Everyone was silent. Although the chaos realm was a legend, many people believed in its existence. Seeing Lu Yiping enter the Thunder Tribulation prison, the Queen Mother hesitated for a moment. When she was about to enter the Thunder Tribulation prison, she saw that Lu Yiping had already come out of the Thunder Tribulation prison. Behind Lu Yiping was a burly golden retriever, Taurus Longjiao. Taurus Longjiao was imprisoned by Haotian in the Thunder Tribulation prison, with layers of restrictions. However, these restrictions were useless against Lu Yiping, so Lu Yiping quickly rescued Taurus Longjiao from the Thunder Tribulation prison. There were many Saint Realm experts imprisoned in the Thunder Tribulation prison, but Lu Yiping did not rescue the others. Seeing Lu Yiping come out, the Queen Mother opened her mouth and was about to call him Little Lu, but stopped. Millions of years ago, Lu Yiping had not yet reached the Saint Realm, so it was appropriate to call him Little Lu. However, the strength that Lu Yiping had just shown was so terrifying that it was obviously inappropriate to call him Little Lu. Should she call him Big Brother Lu? Or Big Brother Lu? While the Queen Mother was hesitating, Lu Yiping saw her from afar and nodded to her. The Queen Mother had led the female immortals to help him just now. After greeting the Queen Mother, Lu Yiping turned and flew to the Heavenly Palace's treasury with Taurus Longjiao. Chapter 428. When everyone saw Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao flying towards the Heavenly Palace's treasury, they could guess what Lu Yiping wanted to do. Thinking of the countless treasures in the Heavenly Palace's treasury, they couldn't help but feel excited. The immortal world was the leader of all worlds. Hao Tian had been in charge of the immortal world's heavenly court for tens of thousands of years. The treasures in the heavenly court's treasury were absolutely shocking. Should we follow them and take a look? One of the fire world's experts, the Flaming Emperor, said. The Flaming Emperor was one of the top 10 experts in the fire world. He was an existence that made people tremble and fear. Forget it. The Lord of the Fire World shook his head. He knew what the Flaming Emperor was planning. He wanted nothing more than to follow Lu Yiping and see if there were any benefits. However, although the Heavenly Palace's treasury was tempting, one had to be alive to take it. Everyone saw Lu Yiping's ruthless methods. He dealt with the Lord of the Immortal World like Hao Tian without batting an eye. Following Lu Yiping to take advantage of the situation was tantamount to courting death. Even so, many experts still followed Lu Yiping from afar, flying towards the Heavenly Palace's treasury. The Heavenly Palace's treasury was guarded by celestial soldiers and celestial generals. When Lu Yiping arrived, he didn't waste any time. He directly destroyed the celestial soldiers and celestial generals with a finger. Then, with a punch, He destroyed the restrictions on the treasury's door and blasted it open. The moment the treasury's door was blasted open, layers of chaotic energy gushed out of the treasury. The auspicious light was astonishing. Clearly, in addition to chaotic items, there were also many sacred items in the treasury. When the experts from various worlds saw the astonishing auspicious light, their eyes burned with passion. Many of them approached the treasury. Taurus Longjiao frowned when he saw the experts from various worlds approaching. He said to Lu Yiping, "Master, how should we deal with these flies?" Lu Yiping turned around and looked at the experts from various worlds behind him. Those experts who were attracted by the auspicious light and chaos chi inside the treasury, and couldn't help but come to their senses when they saw Lu Yiping suddenly turn around and look at them. Their faces changed drastically. Just as these people were about to retreat, they saw Lu Yiping snort coldly. Numerous fire dragons appeared out of thin air. There were probably millions of them, and they shot towards the opposite side. They were extremely fast and arrived in front of these people in an instant. "Retreat!" Someone roared. However, as soon as he roared, he was devoured by the fire dragons. The million fire dragons devoured the tens of thousands of experts in the blink of an eye. After devouring these experts, the fire dragons did not stop and continued to charge towards the experts in the distance who had followed them. The experts who had followed along initially thought that they would be fine as they hid in the distance. But now that they saw the million fire dragons charging towards them, their faces changed drastically. Naturally, these peoples were reduced to ashes as deaths. After killing all these people, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao entered the treasury. After entering the treasury, Huang Xiaolong looked around and saw chaos materials blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao began to collect these chaos materials and sacred artifacts. The two walked and collected as they went. Even though the two of them kept collecting along the way, it still took them half a day to reach the depths of the treasury. In the depths of the treasury, Lu Yiping saw another Buzhou sky sword. Previously, he had obtained one Buzhou sky sword when he destroyed the demon god palace of the firmament mainland. He didn't know the whereabouts of the other one. He didn't expect to see it here. Later, he would be able to find the treasures of the archaic celestial court after merging the two Buzhou sky swords. Putting away the Buzhou sky sword, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao continued to collect treasures in the depths of the treasury. In the end, the two of them left the treasury after emptying the treasury. After leaving the treasury, Lu Yiping merged the two Buzhou sky swords into one. The merged Buzhou sky sword doubled in size and emitted sword light. Under Lu Yiping's command, the Buzhou sky sword tore through the air. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao immediately followed the Buzhou sky sword out of the palace. Now that the two swords had merged, they would be able to find the treasures of the archaic celestial court as long as they followed the Buzhou sky sword. The archaic celestial court ruled the myriad worlds. Therefore, the treasures of the archaic celestial court were far from what Clear Heaven's palace treasures could compare to. Clear Heaven was only the master of the immortal world, while the archaic celestial emperor was the master of myriad worlds. In addition, Lu Yiping suspected that the archaic celestial court's treasures contained the creation jade disc, and there might even be more than one. When the Queen Mother saw Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao coming out of the treasury, she originally wanted to go up and chat with them. However, she saw Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao leaving the heavenly palace. Their figures grew further and further away before disappearing into the horizon. Everyone waited for Lu Yiping to leave before they started to discuss amongst themselves. "Queen Mother, why don't we return to the Kunlun Mountains first?" The maid Little Red saw the Queen Mother standing there unmoving for a long time. She went up and asked carefully. The Queen Mother retracted her gaze, her interest waning. She didn't say anything and flew away. When the female immortals saw this, they followed behind the Queen Mother. After the Queen Mother left, the experts from the various worlds also left with their disciples. The convention of the myriad realms would be held the day after tomorrow. But now it was impossible for the convention to be held. As the experts from the various worlds left, the heavenly palace became much more deserted. As for Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao, they followed the Buzhou sky sword and flew away. Finally, they exited the immortal world and came to a vast starry space. This vast starry space was filled with stars. But other than that, it was completely empty. There was nothing else here. However, the Buzhou sky sword actually stopped here. Taurus Longjiao had a puzzled look in his eyes. He used his divine sense to search, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find anything. Lu Yiping spoke. You won't be able to find anything like this. As he spoke, his gaze landed on one of the stars. This star was the most inconspicuous one among the hundreds of thousands of stars in this vast starry space. When Lu Yiping's gaze landed on this star, the light from the star suddenly surged. After that, a beam of starlight shot out, illuminating a star on the other side. After that, that star also shot out a beam of starlight, illuminating the star on the other side. Just like this, one star connected to another. The starlight from the stars lit up one after another. When the last star lit up, the starlight in the sky suddenly poured down like a torrential downpour. Under the torrential downpour of starlight, numerous palaces appeared in the originally empty starry space. Very soon, this starry space was filled with countless palaces. Taurus Longjiao stared blankly at the palaces that appeared. Let's go. Lu Yiping flew up and flew towards the palaces. Taurus Longjiao regained his senses and followed after him. Luckily, its master. If others obtained the Buzhou sky sword, they wouldn't be able to find the treasures of the supreme ancient heavenly court here. Just when Lu Yiping wanted to speak, the creation jade disc in his body suddenly trembled. Chapter 429. Lu Yiping was overjoyed when he sensed the changes in the fortune jade disc. As he had guessed, the fortune jade disc was in the immemorial heavenly court's treasury. Moreover, from the reaction of the fortune jade disc, there was more than one fortune jade disc. Following the direction of his senses, Lu Yiping arrived above a palace in the deepest part of the treasury. Looking down from above, this palace was several times larger than the surrounding palaces. Moreover, it had a different kind of aura, as if it was a king surrounded by a group of people. Lu Yiping and Li Jia landed in front of the palace. Heaven. The word heaven was written above the palace's gate. This word contained the supreme great Tao. Standing before it, people were like ants in the world. Taurus Longjiao felt an invisible pressure pressing down on him, making it difficult for him to move. It seems that the immemorial heavenly emperor had already comprehended the great Tao of heaven, Taurus Longjiao said while looking at the word. Although the great Tao of heaven was not one of the 10 supreme great Taos, it was still one of the top 10 great Taos. Therefore, even if there were no other restrictions in this palace, just the word heaven was enough to stop many saints. Even Taurus Longjiao could not enter. However, a mere heaven was not enough to stop Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping raised his hand and struck the word with his palm. Immediately, the word caved in, sinking deep into the palace's gate. Taurus Longjiao's body lightened, the pressure from before disappearing without a trace. Lu Yiping stepped forward and pushed the palace's gate. The gate opened and the two stepped inside. From the outside, the palace only occupied a few miles, but after entering, it was extremely spacious. There was a huge square in front of them, a square the size of a city. On the square there were huge jade pillars, carved with all kinds of totems. The two flew forward. After flying for a few minutes, they passed through the square and arrived at a vast hall. The doors to the hall were open, and Lu Yiping went straight in. In the center of the hall was a throne with lifelike carvings of dragons and phoenixes. Whether it was the floor or the surrounding walls, they were all made of the most precious materials of chaos. Taurus Longjiao sighed as he looked at the empty Lingxiao palace that used to be filled with experts from various realms. Lu Yiping's gaze fell on the jade box on the table in front of the throne. The good fortune jade disc was in that jade box. Arriving in front of the throne, Lu Yiping picked up the jade box and broke the restriction on it. When he opened the lid, he saw 4 good fortune jade discs placed in the 4 cardinal directions of north, south, east, and west. Looking at the 4 good fortune jade discs in front of him, Lu Yiping smiled. Over the years he'd searched almost every realm and only found 7 good fortune jade discs. Including the first one he'd found when he was born, he only had 8. Now that he'd found 4, it was a pleasant surprise. Lu Yiping put away the 4 good fortune jade discs, and then went to the treasury of the primeval celestial court with Taurus Longjiao. Lu Yiping wasn't disappointed. The treasury contained the spring of life that he'd been painstakingly searching for. There was quite a bit of it, enough for Lu Yiping to squander for a few years. Over the years after Lu Yiping's nurturing, the first 3 gourds of the rainbow gourd root had matured. With the spring of life, Lu Yiping could nurture the other 4 gourds to maturity within 1,000 years. Inside the immemorial Heavenly Court's treasury, there were so many treasures that the dragon horn golden bull was dazzled. Even Lu Yiping couldn't help but exclaim. Although the treasury of the immortal world's celestial palaces was astonishing, 10,000 of them couldn't compare to the treasury of the primeval celestial court. Because the two weren't on the same level. Although the treasures in Vast Heaven's collection were precious, they paled in comparison to the treasury of the primeval celestial court. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao began collecting the treasures of the primeval celestial court. Lu Yiping didn't leave after collecting the treasures of the primeval celestial court. He directly refined the 4 good fortune jade discs in the treasury. The refinement went smoothly. Each of the 4 good fortune jade discs contained 100 great Tao. If Lu Yiping's great Tao was included, it would be a total of 2,100 great Tao. However, after refining the good fortune jade discs, Lu Yiping wasn't in a hurry to comprehend the great Tao in the 4 good fortune jade discs. Instead, he released Vast Heaven 16. After Vast Heaven was released, he couldn't help but look around in bewilderment. This is the treasury of the primeval celestial court? Vast Heaven asked uncertainly. That's right, Lu Yiping said. Vast Heaven 16 were shocked to hear that Lu Yiping had found the treasury of the primeval celestial court. Lu Yiping didn't waste any time. He directly pulled Vast Heaven in front of him and began to look through his memory fragments. Soon Lu Yiping finished reading Vast Heaven's memory fragments. Although Vast Heaven knew a lot about the Imba Holy Lord, he wasn't sure of his exact whereabouts. Vast Heaven could only be sure that the Imba Holy Lord was hiding in the immortal world, but he couldn't find out which sect or clan he was hiding in. Afterward, Lu Yiping looked through the memory fragments of the other 15. Although the other 15 had a lot of information about the Imba Holy Lord, they didn't know where he was either. After not knowing where the Imba Holy Lord was, Lu Yiping summoned Jianshu and threw Vast Heaven 16 for Jianshu to devour. In the midst of their frenzied struggle, the Saint Energy, Great Path Energy, and Saint Body Origin of the 16 people were all completely devoured by Jianshu. Soon there were 16 more Dao fruits on Jianshu. Lu Yiping sat cross-legged under Jianshu, took Vast Heaven's Dao fruit, swallowed it, and began to cultivate with the longevity incantation. As the Lord of the immortal world, Vast Heaven's Saint Power, Great Tao Power, and Saint Body Origin were much stronger than the Confucian saints. Therefore, his Tao fruit was much more effective than the Confucian saints. Suddenly, the auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head shone brightly. The original 18 acres of auspicious cloud began to expand to 19 acres. When Lu Yiping finished refining Vast Heaven's Tao fruit, the auspicious cloud finally broke through to 19 acres. However, after reaching 19 acres, Lu Yiping's auspicious cloud stopped growing. 19 acres of auspicious cloud was the limit of a saint, so no matter how he cultivated, he couldn't break through. Unless Lu Yiping could break through to the Saint King realm. However, due to the rules of the universe, the highest realm was Saint King realm. Therefore, if Lu Yiping wanted to break through to the Saint King realm, he had to go to the Chaos realm. After the auspicious cloud reached 19 acres, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao left the Archean Celestial Quartz Palace and returned to the demonic bull mountain of the immortal world. They went into seclusion to comprehend the great Tao in the 4 creation jade discs. At the same time, Lu Yiping asked the 7 Treasures Chamber of Commerce's president to help him find out everything about the Imba Holy Lord. However, even Vast Heaven couldn't find out where the Imba Holy Lord was, so the 7 Treasures Chamber of Commerce couldn't find out even if they used all their resources. Hundreds of years passed in the blink of an eye. Chapter 430. Over the past several hundred years, Lu Yiping had fully comprehended the great Taos in the 4 newly acquired plates with the help of Jianshu's primordial energy. As for Taurus Longjiao, he'd refined a Tao fruit in the past few hundred years. With the help of Jianshu's primordial energy, his strength had increased considerably. However, despite refining a Tao fruit, Taurus Longjiao was still a long way off from breaking through to the Sage realm. One or a few Dao fruits weren't enough to break through to the sage realm. Otherwise, the primeval celestial court would have been full of sages long ago. Without Hao Yin and the various sages, the celestial court had long since collapsed. The various factions in the world of immortals were in constant conflict, and the flames of war had engulfed the entire world. However, there was no movement from the Imba race or even the demon realm. Lu Yiping's eldest disciple had moved the entire Tianyuan school to the vicinity of Demon Ox Mountain to avoid being affected by the war in the immortal realm. Even Chan Wanli of the Chun family of the Yaya continent had moved his entire family to the vicinity of Demon Ox Mountain. Currently, only Demon Ox Mountain and its surroundings were unaffected by the flames of war in the entire world of immortals. After fully comprehending the great Taoists in the four plates, Lu Yiping didn't continue his seclusion. He planned to walk around with Taurus Longjiao and see if they could find the Imba Holy Lord. After all, waiting around like this wasn't a solution. Niuyi entered just as Lu Yiping was about to go out for a walk. "Master Lu, the Queen Mother is outside. Would you like to see her?" The Queen Mother had visited 7 times in the past few hundred years that Lu Yiping had been in seclusion on Demon Ox Mountain. Lu Yiping had used seclusion as an excuse to not see her in the past few hundred years. "Master, why don't you see Big Sister Wang?" Taurus Longjiao smiled with a frown. "It'll relieve her of her lovesickness." Lu Yiping glared at him. "You talk too much. There's no fruit for you to eat in the future." Taurus Longjiao was rendered speechless. However, in the end, Lu Yiping still met Mother Wang. When the Empress saw Lu Yiping, she opened her mouth and said, "My master knows that you like wine and has prepared some good wine at Sky Gazing Mountain. He wants to invite you over for a chat." Lu Yiping arrived at the peak of Demon Ox Mountain. Looking at the drifting clouds in front of him, he shook his head and said, "I have nothing to talk about with your master." When the Queen Mother heard Lu Yiping's reply, disappointment filled her face. Lu Yiping had tactfully rejected her. A moment of silence. The Queen Mother asked again, "When are you going back?" She was referring to Lu Yiping's return to the Chaos World. Others might not know about Lu Yiping's identity, but she knew that Lu Yiping came from the Chaos World's Lu family. Back then, Lu Yiping had left the Primal Chaos realm for some reason. But she knew that Lu Yiping would return sooner or later. Lu Yiping said in a low voice, "I'll return after dealing with the Imba Sacred Lord." These days, he had been thinking about returning to the Chaos World. But the matter of the Imba Sacred Lord hadn't been resolved yet. As long as he dealt with the Imba Sacred Lord, it would be time for him to return. When Mother Wang heard that Lu Yiping would return after dealing with the Imba Sacred Lord, she wanted to say something but stopped. A moment later, Mother Wang left Demon Ox Mountain. When she left, her charming face couldn't hide her disappointment. After she left, Taurus Longjiao came to Lu Yiping's side and said in a low voice, "Master, actually, what happened back then wasn't Big Sister Wang's fault." "I know," Lu Yiping said as he looked into the distance. "However, some things have already happened. Since they have already happened, there is no turning back, and there is no way to change them." Taurus Longjiao didn't say anything else. Half a day later, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao left Demon Ox Mountain and began to wander around the immortal world. The Imba Sacred Lord had the Creation Jade Disc, so as long as he continued to wander, he would be able to find the Imba Sacred Lord one day. Now that he had 12 Creation Jade Discs, his sensing range had greatly increased. At most, he would be able to find the Imba Sacred Lord in a few decades, unless the Imba Sacred Lord had already left the immortal world. However, the Imba Sacred Lord had been dormant in the immortal world for many years and couldn't leave so easily. After a few months of wandering, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao received a message from the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce's president. After reading the message from the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce, Lu Yiping revealed a smile. Taurus Longjiao saw Lu Yiping's smile and couldn't help but take a closer look. He was stunned. The Hylon Immortal Sex Patriarch is the Imba Sacred Lord's eldest disciple? The Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce's president said that he had found out that the Hylon Immortal Sex Patriarch was the Imba Sacred Lord's eldest disciple. This was a pleasant surprise. Since the Hylon Immortal Sex Patriarch was the Imba Sacred Lord's eldest disciple, then he might know the whereabouts of the Imba Sacred Lord. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao immediately headed to the Hylon Immortal Sect. The Hylon Immortal Sect was a large sect in the immortal world and was quite powerful. The Hylon Immortal Sect's patriarch was a pinnacle saint expert who could enter the immortal saint realm at any time. After arriving at the Hylon Immortal Sect, Lu Yiping didn't waste any time. He directly entered the Hylon Immortal Sect's ancestral ground and captured the patriarch in front of him, then searched his memories. The Hylon Immortal Sect's patriarch was indeed the Imba Sacred Lord's eldest disciple, but he didn't know the exact whereabouts of his master. After killing the Hylon Immortal Sect's patriarch, Lu Yiping had Taurus Longjiao destroy the Hylon Immortal Sect before heading to the Raoping continent. The Raoping continent was close to the immortal world's heavenly court and was a very prosperous continent. Although the Hylon Immortal Sect's patriarch didn't know the exact whereabouts of the Imba Sacred Lord, Lu Yiping deduced from his memories that the Imba Sacred Lord was most likely on the Raoping continent. Not long after arriving at the Raoping continent, the fortune jade disc in Lu Yiping's body shook violently as expected. Lu Yiping followed his senses and came to a valley. The valley was quiet like a paradise. In the valley, a young man in a scholarly robe was flipping through an ancient book. Just as he was engrossed in the book, the sky suddenly darkened. He looked up and saw a huge mountain falling from the sky. Mount Buzhou. The young man looked at the huge mountain falling from the sky and didn't have time to think. He immediately flew into the sky. However, as soon as he flew out of the valley, Lu Yiping punched him and sent him flying. There was a loud boom. After smashing through the mountains, the young man stopped at the end. After a short pause, he flew out of the mountain rocks. There was blood at the corner of his mouth, and his face was covered in dust. He looked at Lu Yiping gloomily. Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping looked at him. Sacred Lord of the Imba Sacred Lord. The young man was the Sacred Lord of the Imba Sacred Lord. He smiled and his eyes were cold. How did you find this place? Lu Yiping didn't answer. There was a cloud above his head, and on the cloud were 12 fortune jade discs. Seeing the fortune jade discs above Lu Yiping's head, the Sacred Lord of the Imba Sacred Lord understood everything. He said in a low voice, I see. He stared at Lu Yiping. However, Lu Yiping, so what if you found this place? If I want to leave, you can't stop me. Then the cloud above his head was shocking. The Sacred Lord of the Imba Sacred Lord's cloud was the same as Lu Yiping's. It was 19 acres, which was the limit of the Saint Realm. Chapter 431. Next, the great Tao around the Sacred Lord of the Imba clan rose and fell. There were exactly 200 great Taos, and many of them were ranked in the top 100. I know you've comprehended the time and space great Tao and concealed time and space. However, I've also comprehended the time and space great Tao like you. The Sacred Lord said coldly. Your time and space great Tao is useless against me. Among the 200 great Taos there were 2 great Taos. They were the time and space great Tao and the reincarnation great Tao. At this moment, a spaceship appeared around the Sacred Lord. It wasn't big, but it emitted a terrifying aura. Great Void Spaceship, Lu Yiping said slowly as he looked at the spaceship. The Great Void Spaceship was one of the most valuable treasures in the world. It was as powerful as the Chaos Bell. However, the Chaos Bell was both offensive and defensive, while the Great Void Spaceship's power was mainly reflected in its speed. Other than the vast divine boat, the Great Void Spaceship was the fastest thing in the world. No wonder the Sacred Lord said that if he wanted to leave, Lu Yiping wouldn't be able to stop him. That's right, Great Void Spaceship. The Dark Boar Race's Holy Master wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were cold. Lu Yiping, I will remember that punch. After saying this, he drove the Great Void flying ship with all his might and tore through the void to leave. However, as soon as the Great Void Spaceship moved, Lu Yiping arrived in front of him and punched out. 1,000 great Taos flew out along with Lu Yiping's punch. Instantly, the Great Void Spaceship was sent flying by Lu Yiping's punch. The Divine Master of the Imba race was also blasted away. He crashed into the Void Spaceship and was buried by the rolling rocks. This time the Sacred Lord didn't get up for a long time. After a while, the rocks broke open and the Sacred Lord flew up. He looked at Lu Yiping with fear in his eyes. 1,000 great das. Lu Yiping walked toward him. With a flick of his hand, the great void spaceship appeared in front of him. Seeing this, the sacred lord of the Imba race tried to recall the void spaceship. However, no matter how hard he tried, the void spaceship did not respond. Lu Yiping took a step forward and arrived in front of the Saint Lord of the Imba race. With a slap of his hand, the great void ship turned into a streak of light and blasted towards the Saint Lord of the Imba race. Before the Saint Lord of the Imba race could dodge, he was hit by the great void ship and was sent flying again. The sacred lord of the Inyang Bora race, Qingyun, had 19 acres of land and 200 great das. There was no need to doubt his strength. Unfortunately, he had encountered Lu Yiping. In front of Lu Yiping, he had no chance to fight back. After sending the Dark Vial race's holy master flying, Lu Yiping arrived in front of him. He slammed Mount Buzhou down and blasted the Dark Vial race's holy master into the ground. After a few more strikes, Lu Yiping pulled the Dark Vial race's holy master out. Looking at the dying Dark Vial race's holy master, Lu Yiping first sealed his power and then searched his body for the 3 good fortune jade discs. The good fortune jade discs of the Dark Vial race's holy master were hidden in his body. If it was an ordinary saint, even if he knew that there was a good fortune jade disc in his body, he would not be able to take it out. After taking out the 3 good fortune jade discs from the Dark Vial race's holy master, Lu Yiping immediately looked at his memory fragments. Then he summoned the Tree of Creation and began to devour his Saint Power, Great Tao Energy, and Saint Body Origin Energy. Feeling the Saint Power, Great Tao Energy, and Saint Body Origin Energy in his body being devoured, the Dark Vial race's holy master laughed eerily. He said, "Lu Yiping, even if I die, there will be another more powerful holy master soon. You can't destroy the Dark Vial race. Is that so?" Lu Yiping's expression did not change. He knew what the Dark Vial race's holy master meant. The Dark Vial race was spread across thousands of worlds, and it was impossible to kill them all. Even the Dark Vial race's holy master only knew the main branches of the Dark Vial race in each world. He did not even know about some of the smaller branches. However, Lu Yiping was not worried. When the time came, he would kill them one by one. He did not believe that he would not be able to destroy the entire Dark Vial race. After a while, the Tree of Creation had completely devoured the Dark Vial race's holy master's Saint Power, Great Tao Energy, and Saint Body Origin Energy. A new fruit grew on the Tree of Creation. This fruit was much bigger than Hao Tian's Great Tao fruit. Earlier, Lu Yiping had devoured Hao Tian's Great Tao fruit, and then he had given one to Taurus Longjiao. He had 14 left. Now, with the Dark Vial race's holy master, he had 15. When he returned to the chaotic realm, Lu Yiping would use these 15 Great Tao fruits to break through to the Saint King realm. Then Lu Yiping used the Great Tao of Fire to burn the Dark Vial race's holy master to ashes. At this point, the most powerful person of the Dark Vial race had completely fallen. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao found an alternate space that the Dark Vial race's holy master had built in the valley. In the alternate space were the treasures of the Dark Vial race's headquarters. The treasures inside were shocking. Although they could not be compared to the treasures of the Archean Celestial Court, they were more than the treasures of Hao Tian's Celestial Court. Most importantly, there were many Tree of Creation and Buzhou Mountain stones in the Dark Vial race's headquarters. Lu Yiping looked at the endless Tree of Creation and summoned the Tree of Creation. He began to devour and fuse with the Tree of Creation. After fusing with these Tree of Creation, his Tree of Creation could almost recover to its peak strength in the Archean era. At that time, he could use the Tree of Creation to travel through the myriad worlds. He could go to any world he wanted. He did not need to travel across the galaxy. Sure enough, after devouring and fusing with the Tree of Creation, the Tree of Creation grew again and transformed. Some of the branches were densely packed with Great Tao runes and connected to form spatial doors. There were exactly 10,000 of these spatial doors that could lead to the myriad worlds. After that, Lu Yiping used Buzhou Mountain to fuse with the Buzhou Mountain stones in the treasury. Buzhou Mountain grew to 100,000 feet tall. Like the Tree of Creation, Buzhou Mountain had almost recovered to its peak strength in the Archean era. In the following days, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao used the Tree of Creation to travel to the immortal, Buddhist, dragon, thunder, devil and hell realms. They wiped out the dark vile race in each world. At the same time, Lu Yiping refined the 3 creation jade discs from the dark vile race's sacred lord and comprehended the great Tao within. In the blink of an eye, dozens of years passed. With the help of the spatial doors of the Tree of Creation, Lu Yiping traveled across the myriad worlds and wiped out all the dark vile race in the myriad worlds. After wiping out a world, Lu Yiping would only go to the next world after confirming that there were no more dark vile race. After wiping out all the dark vile race in the myriad worlds, Lu Yiping once again returned to the demonic Bull Mountain in the immortal world to cultivate in seclusion. In these dozens of years, he traveled across the myriad worlds and found another 5 creation jade discs. From start to finish, he had a total of 20 creation jade discs. He only needed 4 more to collect all the creation jade discs. However, he had only found 5 creation jade discs after traveling across the myriad worlds. The other 4 should be in the chaos realm. While comprehending the creation jade discs, Lu Yiping saw that the immortal world was in constant chaos. He rebuilt the immortal world's heavenly court to suppress the myriad worlds. After Lu Yiping rebuilt the heavenly court, the immortal world gradually stabilized. Seeing that the immortal world was stable, Lu Yiping decided to return to the chaos realm. Chapter 432. Master, can I go to the chaos realm with you? Taurus Longjiao asked when he learned that Lu Yiping was going back to the chaos realm. He knew that after this farewell, they would not be able to meet again. Due to the restrictions of the universe, it was easy for a saint to enter the chaos realm, but it was difficult to come down from there. Lu Yiping shook his head. The immortal world still needs you. I can go back to the chaos realm by myself. Although he had rebuilt the heavenly court, the immortal world would definitely be in turmoil once he left, so he still needed Taurus Longjiao to guard it. With Taurus Longjiao's current strength and the means he had left behind, it was enough to guard the immortal world. But Master, Taurus Longjiao still wanted to speak, but Lu Yiping interrupted and shook his head. Don't worry, if I surpass the Sage King realm in the future, we will still meet again. Taurus Longjiao nodded. Few days later, Lu Yiping summoned all the powerhouses of the heavenly court he had rebuilt, gave them many instructions, and then left reluctantly. When Lu Yiping left, Taurus Longjiao and Lu Yiping's eldest disciple knelt down. Taurus Longjiao's eyes were filled with tears. Although Lu Yiping said that they would meet again after surpassing the Sage King realm, it was not that easy to surpass the Sage King realm. And even if they did surpass the Sage King realm, they would not be able to break the rules of the universe. Therefore, this farewell was probably the last time they would see each other. After Lu Yiping left, he came to the end of the immortal world. The immortal world was the leader of all worlds, and the entrance to the chaos realm was in the immortal world. However, although the entrance to the chaos realm was in the immortal world, one had to pass through an extremely long chaos realm to enter the immortal world. In this chaos realm there were many dangers. Those below the sage realm could die at any time. Even saints could not guarantee that there would be no danger. After arriving at the entrance to the primal chaos world, Lu Yiping tore through the space barrier and entered the primal chaos world. Everywhere he looked, he was greeted by the grayish chaotic air currents. These chaotic air currents were not chaos spiritual energy. Not only could they not be devoured for cultivation, but they also contained a kind of terrifying innate poison. Therefore, Lu Yiping summoned the auspicious clouds the moment he entered the chaos space. As the auspicious clouds swirled, auspicious light shone down, blocking the chaotic air currents outside. Within the primal chaos space it was completely silent. Lu Yiping kept flying forward. After flying for nearly a month, Lu Yiping finally saw another exit. Lu Yiping didn't hesitate and flew out from another exit. Suddenly his body became light, and the gray chaotic airflow disappeared, replaced by a colorful world. In this world the colors were extremely bright, and even the river water seemed to be suffused with golden light. This was the Chaos Realm. The Chaos Realm was no different from the Immortal Realm, but the Chaos Realm's spatial laws were higher than the Immortal Realms. The Chaos Realm's space was countless times stronger than the Immortal Realms. In the Immortal Realm, celestial venerables could shatter space into pieces, but in the Chaos Realm, even the strongest celestial venerables couldn't shatter space. I'm finally back. Looking at the world in front of him, Lu Yiping had mixed feelings. Millions of years ago, when he left the Chaos Realm, the scene seemed to be vivid in his mind. After stopping for a while, Lu Yiping flew toward the city in front of him. Soon he arrived at the city called Brilliant City. There were many people in Brilliant City, and it was very lively. Lu Yiping walked slowly with the crowd. When he passed by a restaurant, Lu Yiping stopped. Thousand Dragons Tavern. Looking at this familiar name, Lu Yiping smiled. He wondered how Uncle Yi was doing now. Uncle Yi should have surpassed the Sage King realm by now, right? Although it was extremely difficult to surpass the Sage King realm, Lu Yiping had confidence in this Uncle Yi. This Thousand Dragons Tavern was created by Yi Wuqian, and it was also the #1 restaurant in the Chaos Realm. When Lu Yiping left the Chaos Realm, the Thousand Dragons Tavern had already opened in all the major cities in the Chaos Realm. Therefore, Lu Yiping wasn't surprised to see the Thousand Dragons Tavern in Brilliant City. Lu Yiping walked into the Thousand Dragons Tavern. The Thousand Dragons Tavern was full of people, and as he remembered, business was booming. Lu Yiping finally found an empty seat and walked over. However, just as Lu Yiping was about to sit down, a sword was suddenly thrown from afar. The sword was thrown on the table where he was about to sit, and there was a loud bang. Lu Yiping looked over and saw two women walking over from afar. One of them, who was dressed in green, said, "Sorry, we'll take this seat first." Lu Yiping looked at the sword that had been thrown on the table. With a flick of his hand, he sent the sword flying back. Then he sat down on his seat. After the sword was flicked away by Lu Yiping, it fell to the ground not far away. The girl in green saw that her flying sword was flicked away by Lu Yiping, and her almond-shaped eyes were filled with anger. "You, little green." Another young lady spoke up to stop the green-robed young lady. The green-robed young lady walked over to Lu Yiping and smiled sweetly. "My apologies, young noble. My subordinate was rude earlier, please do not take offense." Then she looked around the tavern and said, "There are no more seats in the tavern now. If young master doesn't mind, we can share a table." Lu Yiping looked around the tavern and saw that it was indeed full. He said, "You can sit, but your maid can't." The girl in green was angry when she heard this. The girl was startled and then smiled. "Thank you, young master." Then she sat down across from Lu Yiping and said to the girl in green, "Little green, why aren't you apologizing to young master?" The girl in green pouted and said that she was unwilling, but in the end she still said sorry. Lu Yiping nodded and didn't bicker with this little girl. The girl smiled at Lu Yiping and said, "What wine would young master like to drink? I'll pay for young master's wine later as an apology." Lu Yiping looked at her. At first glance the girl looked ordinary, but she was very good-looking. Lu Yiping smiled and said, "I want to drink the 10,000 Dragons Tavern's 10,000 Dragons Sacred Wine. Are you sure you want to pay for it?" The 10,000 Dragons Sacred Wine was the 10,000 Dragons Tavern's most expensive wine. It was not something an ordinary person could afford. The girl was stunned for a second, then called the waiter over and said, "Give us 2 jugs of 10,000 Dragons Sacred Wine and a table of good wine and dishes." Then, she gave the waiter over 20,000 Chaos Spirit Stones as payment for the wine and dishes. After the waiter left, Lu Yiping looked at the girl and said, "I didn't expect Miss to be so rich." Someone who could casually take out 20,000 Chaos Spirit Stones was naturally rich. Before the girl could say anything, the maid behind her snorted and said, "Of course our young master is rich. You're lucky to have met our young master," and picked up a jug of 10,000 Dragons Sacred Wine for free. Lu Yiping smiled and didn't argue. Soon the waiter served 2 jugs of 10,000 Dragons Sacred Wine and a table of good wine and dishes. Chapter 433. After the 10,000 Dragons Sacred Wine was served, Lu Yiping did not hold back. He opened the wine jar, took a deep sniff and drank a mouthful. The fragrance of the wine filled his mouth. It was still the same taste as before. Back then, he stayed at the 10,000 Dragons Tavern headquarters for a few years and drank the 10,000 Dragons Sacred Wine with Uncle Yi every day. When the maid Xiao Lu saw Lu Yiping impatiently drinking a mouthful and then sitting there with an intoxicated expression, she couldn't help but say, "From the looks of it, This is your first time drinking the 10,000 Dragons sacred wine. The girl looked at Lu Yiping and smiled. This 10,000 Dragons sacred wine has a strong aftereffect. Young master should drink it lightly. Obviously, she also felt that this should be Lu Yiping's first time drinking it. Hearing the girl's kind reminder, Lu Yiping smiled and said, although this wine has a strong aftereffect, I've never been drunk before. The maid Xiao Lu pouted and muttered, shameless boasting. Following the conversation, Lu Yiping learned that the girl was called Wang Muling. After knowing that the girl's surname was Wang, Lu Yiping guessed the girl's identity. You're a disciple of the Black Tortoise royal family? Lu Yiping asked. Wang Muling was startled. She couldn't help but look at Lu Yiping and smiled. I didn't expect Master Lu to know about our Black Tortoise royal family. Although the Black Tortoise royal family was the top family in the Chaos Realm with a heritage from the Desolate era, they had not shown themselves for many years. Not many people knew about them. Lu Yiping nodded and asked, I have a friend from your Black Tortoise royal family. Wang Muling couldn't help but ask curiously, I wonder who Master Lu's friend is in our Wang family? She then smiled and said, if it's a direct disciple, I might know him. His name is Wang Dingtian. Lu Yiping said. Wang Dingtian. Wang Muling was puzzled. Although there were many direct disciples in the Wang family, she could remember almost all of them. However, she recalled that there was no direct disciple named Wang Dingtian in the Wang family. The maid Xiao Lu also said, Wang Dingtian? I've never heard of him. He shouldn't be a direct disciple of our Wang family, right? Collateral disciple? Lu Yiping smiled. Master Lu is passing by Huang City? Or someone from Huang City? Wang Muling asked Lu Yiping. Passing by Huang City, Lu Yiping said. Then he poured a bowl of wine. When Wang Muling heard that Lu Yiping was just passing by Huang City, he couldn't help but feel disappointed. He then asked Master Lu, have you heard of the Night Soul Race? When Lu Yiping heard Wang Muling asking about the Night Soul Race, he asked, why are you guys asking about that group of things that are neither human nor ghost? Wang Muling's face lit up. So Master Lu knows about the Night Soul clan? I know. Lu Yiping nodded. Master Lu, do you know where the Night Soul clan is now? Wang Muling asked. I heard that Huang City used to be the main city of the Night Soul clan. However, the Night Soul clan suddenly disappeared from Huang City overnight. Very few people know where they went. Lu Yiping didn't say anything. He just looked at Wang Muling. Wang Muling hesitated for a moment and said, I want to borrow the Night Soul Pearl of the Night Soul clan. Lu Yiping shook his head and said, the Night Soul Pearl is the most precious treasure of the Night Soul clan. They won't lend it to outsiders. At this moment, the discussion at the tables around the tavern attracted Lu Yiping's attention. Lu family's Lord Lu Yiping has proven his Tao and become a saint. Lord Lu Yiping has only cultivated for 10 million years. He has proven his Tao and become a saint so quickly. If he swallowed saint-level pills and other saint items, he would need tens of thousands of them. However, the fruit of Tao from the Imba clan's saint leader contained all of his cultivation. The saint chi was shocking, and it was more effective than tens of thousands of saint-level pills. After preparing, Lu Yiping sat cross-legged under the tree of creation, and swallowed the fruit of Tao without hesitation. The fruit of Tao instantly turned into a torrent of saint chi, gushing toward every part of Lu Yiping's body. The auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head surged, and auspicious light poured down like a waterfall, rolling endlessly. As Lu Yiping channeled the 49th level of the longevity incantation, the saint chi from the fruit of Tao was constantly refined by him, and then poured into the auspicious cloud. Under the continuous influx of saint chi from the fruit of Tao, the auspicious cloud above his head finally began to transform. The auspicious cloud above his head was originally white, so white that it was flawless, but now it gradually bloomed with strands of yellow light. As the yellow light increased, the auspicious cloud's color began to change. At the same time, Lu Yiping's saint body also began to transform. Chapter 434. Lu Yiping's saint body shone with 5-colored golden light, and the surrounding saint chi glowed with 5-colored light. As the cloud above Lu Yiping's head transformed, His original 19-acre cloud began to shrink. 18 acres. 17 acres. 16 acres. As the cloud above Lu Yiping's head continued to shrink, the cloud above his head shone brighter and brighter. When the cloud above Lu Yiping's head shrunk to 1 acre, it continued to shrink. Finally, it shrunk to half an acre. When the cloud above Lu Yiping's head shrunk to half an acre, it had turned completely yellow, and it was a yellow that shone with bright golden light. However, the cloud was still shrinking. Finally, it became the size of a grain of rice. The saint power in Lu Yiping's body had also completely transformed, and the saint power in his body had turned into a liquid state. The aura of a saint king spread out from Lu Yiping's body and swept through the surrounding heaven and earth. At this moment, Lu Yiping finally succeeded in breaking through to the saint king realm. Even though Lu Yiping had set up a formation around him, it was still shaken by the impact. It was as if the entire wilderness was about to be overturned. However, after breaking through to the Saint King realm, the saint power and great path power in the fruit of Tao of the Imba Saint Lord continued to pour into Lu Yiping's cloud. Lu Yiping's originally grain-sized yellow cloud began to expand. Soon it was the size of a thumb, then a fist, then a head, half a meter, 1 meter, 2 meters, 3 meters, 10 meters, 20 meters. When the cloud was almost 100 meters in size, the fruit of Tao of the Imba Saint Lord was completely refined. Only then did Lu Yiping stop. When he stood up, the heavens and earth seemed to tremble. Lu Yiping casually pointed a finger, and the power of his finger easily broke through the restrictions that he had set up before, and then blasted towards the end of the wilderness. After a long time, a sound came from the horizon. It was as if an apocalyptic earthquake had taken place on the ground. The ground kept shaking and cracking. Although Lu Yiping's cloud was only about 100 meters in size, the Saint King power it contained was completely incomparable to the saint power in the saint realm. After a while, Lu Yiping set up a new formation around him, sat down cross-legged, took the second Tao fruit, and continued to swallow it and cultivate. After refining the fruit of Tao of the Imba Saint Lord, Jianshu now had 14 Tao fruits, enough for him to improve. When Lu Yiping was refining the second fruit of Tao, a group of powerhouses appeared at the end of the wilderness. These experts were from the various large clans and sects in the surrounding cities. They had been alerted by the power of Lu Yiping's finger, and had come to investigate. When they arrived, they saw that the mountains in the wasteland had been plowed flat, and that there was a bottomless abyss tens of thousands of miles wide in the ground. They were all dumbfounded. They looked at Yiping, the Saint King Saint Lord. Is it a Saint Realm powerhouse? A sect master guessed in shock. It's definitely a Saint Realm powerhouse. Invincible heavenly venerables can't be this strong. An immortal emperor said. Could it be the Tower Master of Star Moon Tower? There were only a few Saint Realm powerhouses on Stellaris continent, and the strongest was the Tower Master of Star Moon Tower. Shall we go up and take a look? In the end, no one dared to approach the abyss. After Lu Yiping refined the second Tao fruit, he went on to refine the third, fourth, and fifth. Now that Lu Yiping had broken through to the Saint King realm, his speed of refining the Tao fruits was much faster. After a few days, he had completely refined the remaining 14 Tao fruits. After refining all the Tao fruits, the cloud above Lu Yiping's head had grown to 1 mu. Although it was only 1 mu, many Saint King realm powerhouses who had broken through to the Saint King realm had cultivated for millions or even tens of millions of years. For example, when he was forced to leave the Lu family, Lu Yiming's father, Lu Yuchao, had broken through to the Saint King realm 6 million years ago, but his cloud had only grown to half a mu. After Lu Yiping's cloud grew to 1 mu, his strength was several times stronger than when he had just broken through to the Saint King realm. Lu Yiping looked at Jianshu, who was surging with nebulous primordial qi. When Jianshu devoured the Imba clan's Saint Lord, Hao Tian, and the others, many of the Tao fruits formed from their saint energy and grand Tao energy had been devoured by Jianshu. Therefore, Jianshu grew stronger with every person he devoured. Now Jianshu had completely recovered his peak strength from the primordial era. It's time to go back, Lu Yiping thought to himself. Little sister, how are you? He still had a younger sister, Lu Jiqing, in the Lu family. Lu Yiping put Jianshu back into his body and left. On the way, Lu Yiping learned that Lu Yiming's sacred assembly would be held in half a year's time. Knowing that there was still half a year to go, Lu Yiping was not in a hurry. He cultivated as he hurried back. Over the years, his immortal Skyward technique had only reached the 17th level. Therefore, he began to cultivate the immortal Skyward technique on the way back. Just as Lu Yiping was rushing back to the Lu family, the entire Lu family began to bustle. Although there was still half a year to go before Lu Yiming's sacred assembly, many patriarchs and sect masters from the chaotic world had already led their experts to the Lu family. As one of the top families in the chaotic world, the Lu family ruled countless territories and continents. Under the orders of the Lu family's higher-ups, the countless territories and continents under the Lu family's rule were lit up and decorated with all kinds of festive items. In one of the palaces in the Lu family's headquarters, Lu Jiqing, who was wearing a plain dress and had an oval face, was holding a blue longsword and wiping it repeatedly. In fact, there was no dust on the Qinghong sword at all. All these years she had been wiping it frequently because it was a gift from her big brother, Lu Yiping. As she wiped the Qinghong sword, she could not help but think of the scene when her big brother had taught her swordsmanship. Big brother should have already become a saint, Lu Jiqing thought to herself. And she had just become a celestial venerable not long ago. Just as Lu Jiqing was wiping the Qinghong sword, she saw a woman with two maids openly push open the palace doors and walk in. When Lu Jiqing saw the woman, her face darkened. "What are you doing here?" It was Lu Yiming's younger sister, Lu Yu. "What am I doing here?" Lu Yu sneered. "Now the entire Lu family belongs to our bloodline. I can come and go as I please. Lu Jiqing, if it weren't for the fact that I pity you, do you think you would be able to stay in the Lu family's headquarters?" Then she continued, "My big brother has become a saint. The entire Lu family is busy, but you're hiding here wiping your lousy sword. Why don't you go out and serve the guests?" Serving tea was usually the job of the Lu family's collateral disciples. When Lu Jiqing heard Lu Yu ordering her to serve tea, her face turned cold. "Lu Yu, the Lu family does not belong to your bloodline yet. When you become the head of the family, you can order me around." When Lu Yu heard this, she narrowed her eyes and slapped her. Chapter 435. Lu Jiqing countered Lu Yu's attack with her own. Their palms collided, causing a loud explosion and shockwaves to roll out. Lu Yu staggered back, only stopping when she was outside the palace gates. The maid behind her was sent flying. "You've broken through to the heavenly venerable realm." Lu Yu glared at Lu Jiqing. Indifferent, Lu Jiqing looked at her. Although Lu Yu was also a heavenly venerable, her bloodline was higher than Lu Yu's. Lu Yu was no match for her in the same realm. Lu Yu's eyes turned cold. A long sword appeared in her hand and she slashed at Lu Jiqing. Instantly, a rain of swords shot towards Lu Jiqing. Lu Jiqing looked at the rain of swords and slashed out with the azure rainbow sword in her hand. Lu Yu's sword rain was sliced apart, and the cyan rainbow sword chi was right in front of Lu Yu. Lu Yu was shocked and dodged in a panic. Even so, the cyan rainbow sword chi cut through the divine armor on her chest, leaving a wound the length of an arm. Blood flowed out from the wound. "Bitch, you're courting death." Lu Yu looked at the wound on her chest and was furious. She was about to attack again when a voice shouted, "Stop!" A white-haired old man flew over. Lu Yu's face darkened when she saw the white-haired old man. "Lord Ancestor Snow." Lu Jiqing cupped her fists and greeted the old man respectfully. Lu Yu could only do the same. "The sacred assembly is about to begin. All fighting is prohibited in the main manor. Are you going to be sent to the black prison?" The white-haired old man scolded the two, then turned to Lu Yu. "Lu Yu, don't think that just because your father is a saint king, you can do whatever you want. The Lu family is still yours." Lu Yu lowered her head and opened her mouth to speak. In the end, she nodded and said, "Yes, Lord Ancestor Snow is right. You can leave." Ancestor Snow's expression softened. "If you do this again, you'll be sent to the black prison for 1,000 years. Lu Yu nodded and left. Before she left, she glanced at Lu Jiqing discreetly. That look was no doubt saying, "Just you wait." After Lu Yu left, Ancestor Snow looked at Lu Jiqing and said, "I've received news that Lu Yuchao will challenge for the patriarch's position. As long as the Lu family had a Saint King realm cultivator, they could challenge for the position of patriarch. Of course, it was not that easy to successfully challenge for the position of patriarch of the Liu family. Not only did one have to defeat the current patriarch of the Liu family, but one also had to undergo the test of the Liu family's progenitors. The Liu family now had 7 primogenitors. At least 4 of them had to pass the test. Ancestor Snow continued. Lu Yuchao has the support of 3 primal ancestors. Lu Jiqing's heart sank. Therefore, Lu Yuchao would definitely be able to pass the test of the 3 primal ancestors. This meant that Lu Yuchao had a 70 to 80% chance of succeeding. If Lu Yuchao became the head of the Liu family, it would definitely not be good news for her. Ancestor Snow, do you have any news about my father? Lu Jiqing suddenly asked. Ancestor Snow shook his head. The desolate region of the universe has changed. No one can enter it now. Lu Jiqing was disappointed. What about my brother? Lu Jiqing asked, her voice trembling. Ancestor Snow shook his head and didn't say anything. Lu Jiqing's pretty face paled. All these years, there had been news that her brother Lu Yiping had died outside. After Lu Yu left, her face was as dark as water. She said hatefully, Lu Jiqing, you be asterisk T. Do you really think that Ancestor Shui can protect you forever? After the sacred assembly, when my father becomes the head of the Liu family, I'll slowly torture you to death. Very quickly, several months passed. As the sacred assembly drew closer, the entire Liu family became even more joyous. Experts from all over came in an endless stream. The Liu family main residence was even more crowded. At this time, there were only 3 days left until the sacred assembly. Experts from all over had arrived at the Liu family main residence. Inside the Liu family main hall, Liu Yiming and his father Liu Yuchao were receiving the experts from all over the world. Liu Yiming's face was radiant. Saint King Realm experts rarely appeared, but this time there were 3 Saint King Realm experts who came to his sacred assembly. Purple Firmament Saint King, Daoyuo Saint King, Origin Essence Saint King. All of them were unparalleled experts whose names shook the chaos world. Patriarch Qin, Lord Qin Liang, and Lord Qin Lu have arrived. Outside, one of the Liu family main residence's experts suddenly shouted. Liu Yiming, Liu Yuchao, and the rest quickly stood up to welcome them. The Qin family was one of the chaos world's 4 great families. As the patriarch of the Qin family, Qin Liang's status was naturally not something other Saint King Realm experts could compare to. Just as Liu Yiming, Liu Yuchao, and the rest walked out of the main hall to welcome Qin Liang, Qin Lu, and the other experts, a blue-robed young man walked in from outside the Liu family main residence. Liu Yiping raised his head to look at the bustling Liu family main residence. After several million years, the Liu family main residence, which was already old and weathered, became even older. Liu Yiping followed the stream of people into the Liu family main residence. After entering the Liu family main residence, Liu Yiping spread his soul force and sensed his sister's aura. He couldn't help but smile. Seeing that his sister had already broken through to the heavenly venerable realm, Liu Yiping was gratified. Before he left the Liu family main residence, he and his sister relied on each other for survival, and their relationship was very good. Liu Yiping did not go to the main residence's main hall. Instead, he went to his sister's residence. He wanted to see her first. At this time, a maid entered Lu Jiqing's residence. Young miss, the Wang family's young master Wang Tao is outside, saying he wants to see you. Lu Jiqing frowned at the maid's words. Wang Tao was the Wang family's patriarch's grandson. Since meeting her several hundred years ago, he had often come to the Liu family main residence to pester her. However, this person's reputation was not good, so Lu Jiqing had rejected him many times. I won't see him, Lu Jiqing immediately said. The maid complied. Just as the maid was about to go out to inform Wang Tao, a man and a woman walked in. The man was Wang Tao, and the woman was Lu Yu. Seeing Lu Yu bring Wang Tao in, Lu Jiqing's face sank. Lu Yu, I don't welcome you here, please leave. Lu Yu acted as if she did not hear anything and smiled at Wang Tao. Young Master Wang Tao, if you want to enter the Bihong Palace in the future, just let me know. Wang Tao glanced at Lu Jiqing, then smiled at Lu Yu. Thank you, Miss Lu Yu. I told you to get out. Lu Jiqing's eyes turned cold. and the Bihong sword in her hand stabbed at Lu Yu. Get lost. However, just as Lu Jiqing's Bihong sword was about to reach Lu Yu, it was caught between two fingers by an expert behind Lu Yu. Lu Jiqing's expression changed. Lu Yu looked at Lu Jiqing and sneered, "Let me introduce you. This is my new bodyguard, an Invincible Heavenly Venerable." After the previous incident, she had been pestering her big brother Lu Yiming, and Lu Yiming sent her an Invincible Heavenly Venerable. At this time, the Invincible Heavenly Venerable behind Lu Yu flicked his two fingers, and the Bihong sword flew up. Lu Jiqing was pushed back by the opponent's powerful force and crashed into the stone pavilion behind her, shattering it. Chapter 436. Lu Jiqing was a core disciple of the Lu family, thus the Invincible Heavenly Venerate did not dare to be too harsh on her. Even so, when Lu Jiqing crashed into the broken stone pavilion, blood trickled from the corner of her mouth, and dust covered her body. Lu Jiqing wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth, glaring at Lu Yu and the guards. Wang Tao saw that Lu Jiqing was injured, but he did not say anything to stop her. For the past several hundred years, Lu Jiqing had been rejecting him, and this made him very unhappy. Lu Yu looked at the angry Lu Jiqing with a bright smile on her face. She turned to the Invincible Heavenly Venerate behind her and said, "Capture her for me. I have something to tell her." The Invincible Heavenly Venerate respectfully complied. He raised his palm and grabbed at Lu Jiqing. High above in the air, a giant hand appeared, enveloping Lu Jiqing. Before the giant hand could reach her, Lu Jiqing felt her body sinking. Just as the giant hand was about to land on top of Lu Jiqing's head, a ray of light suddenly pierced through the air and pierced through the giant hand. Like a balloon, the giant hand was suddenly pierced through and exploded. Everything happened so suddenly that everyone was stunned. They turned around and saw a young man in a blue robe walking in from outside the palace. Lu Yu was confused, but when Lu Jiqing saw the face in her memory, her eyes widened in disbelief. She pinched her arm, and when she realized it was not an illusion, her eyes reddened. Lu Jiqing's voice trembled. "Big brother, is that you?" Although she knew it was not an illusion, she still couldn't believe it was real. She had waited for several million years, and in these several million years she had sent people to inquire about her big brother. However, if it wasn't a stone that sank to the bottom of the sea, then she heard that her big brother was already dead. Lu Yu was shocked when she heard Lu Jiqing call her big brother. She looked at the young man in front of her in shock. Could this young man be? Lu Yiping walked into the palace and stopped in front of Lu Jiqing, smiling. "It's me, little sister. Big brother is back. Big brother is back." Hearing Lu Yiping's familiar voice, smelling the familiar scent on Lu Yiping's body, Lu Jiqing's tears flowed down uncontrollably. Tears fell like pearls from a necklace rolling down her face. "Big brother." Lu Jiqing choked with sobs. "You're still alive." Lu Yiping wiped away the tears on his sister's face and smiled. "Big brother has always been alive." Lu Jiqing suddenly started crying loudly. Just as Lu Jiqing was bawling her eyes out, Lu Yu's voice rang out at an untimely moment. "Yo, your crying is quite touching. If I didn't know better, I would have thought that your parents had died." Just as Lu Yiping finished speaking, she saw Lu Yiping pull her over to him with a single hand. Lu Yiping held the man's neck with one hand, his eyes devoid of emotion. Sensing Lu Yiping's killing intent, Lu Yu was terrified. That Invincible Heavenly Venerable reacted. With a shout, he suddenly sent a palm strike at Lu Yiping. "Big brother, be careful." Lu Jiqing cried out in alarm. Just as Lu Jiqing was worried, Lu Yiping raised his hand and flicked it. That Invincible Heavenly Venerable flew backward and exploded into a mist of blood. The mist of blood splattered all over Wang Tao's body. Wang Tao's face was wet. He touched his hand and found that it was covered in blood. Lu Yu was shocked. Lu Jiqing, on the other hand, was pleasantly surprised. "Big brother, you've entered the Saint Realm." "Saint Realm?" Lu Yiping smiled. Just as he was about to explain, he heard Lu Yu sneer. "So what if you've broken through to the Saint Realm?" "Lu Yiping, my big brother has already proven his Tao and become a saint." "He's already a saint. You're just an ant in front of him." "Today is my big brother's sacred assembly. You'd better let me go. Lu Yu said, otherwise if my big brother and father sense something amiss and come here, you'll die without a burial place. Is that so? Lu Yiping's expression remained unchanged. If that's the case, I'll kill you in front of your father and big brother when we reach the main hall of the main mansion. Lu Yiping's cold voice echoed in the courtyard. Lu Yu was stunned. Lu Yiping looked at Wang Tao and asked Lu Jiqing, "Who is this?" Lu Jiqing told him Wang Tao's identity and how Wang Tao had been pestering her all these years. When Lu Yiping heard this, he raised a finger and sent Wang Tao flying. Wang Tao flew out of the main mansion and fell to the ground outside, unconscious. Is Lu Yiping in the main hall now? Lu Yiping asked Lu Jiqing. Lu Jiqing nodded and said, "Big brother, Lu Yiping has already proven his Tao and become a saint. You should leave first." Lu Yiping shook his head. "Don't worry. He can't hurt your big brother now." Then, he led Lu Yu to the main hall of the main mansion. Lu Jiqing was stunned. What did big brother mean? Could it be that big brother had also proven his Tao and become a saint? Lu Jiqing's heart pounded. She couldn't suppress her excitement. Of course, she understood what it meant to be a saint. When Lu Jiqing regained her senses, she saw that Lu Yiping's figure had already disappeared. She hurried after him. At this time, inside the Lu family's main hall, Lu Yiping, Lu Yuchao, and the rest had already welcomed the Qin family's patriarch Qin Liang and Qin Lu into the main hall. Lu Yiping cupped his fists at Qin Liang. It is Yiping's honor to have Lord Qin Liang at the Yiping Sacred Assembly. Qin Liang waved his hand and smiled. You and Qin Lu are good friends. Of course I have to come to my sacred assembly. He then looked at Lu Yuchao. Moreover, after today's sacred assembly ends, little brother Yuchao wants to challenge your Lu family's patriarch position. Of course I have to come and help him. Qin Liang was the Qin family's patriarch. If he came to help Lu Yuchao, some of the Lu family's primal ancestors would think twice. Lu Yuchao cupped his fists and smiled. Many thanks, brother Qin Liang. Qin Liang smiled. With our friendship, there's no need to be so polite. Moreover, I believe that with little brother Youchao's strength, you will definitely succeed. At that time, the two of us will need to work together. Lu Yuchao smiled. Of course, the two of them chatted merrily. While everyone in the main hall was chatting merrily, a series of miserable screams rang in the air. In the next second, people were thrown into the main hall. Lu Yiping, Lu Yuchao, and the rest stopped and looked over. The people thrown into the main hall were the Lu family's primal ancestors. Qin Liang, the Purple Firmament Sage King, and the rest were surprised. Today was the day of the Lu Yiping Sacred Assembly. There were actually people who came to the Lu family's main hall to cause trouble. Before everyone's astonishment, Lu Yiping walked into the main hall with Lu Yu in his hand. Lu Yu looked like a little chick in his hand. Some of the Lu family's experts who tried to stop him were sent flying by an invisible force before they could even get close. Lu Yiping and Lu Yuchao were also surprised when they saw that it was Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping glared coldly at Lu Yiping. He stood up and glanced at Lu Yu and Lu Yiping's hand. You're quite lucky you're still alive. He then added, however, you attacked my little sister the moment you came back. Did you really think that with Ancestor Snow protecting you I wouldn't dare to kill you? Lu Yiping's palm struck down on Lu Yiping. You shouldn't have come back. Since you're back, die. Chapter 437. Lu Yiming's palm struck out. Saint Force surged out, and the auspicious cloud above his head parted, releasing rays of auspicious light. The auspicious cloud above Lu Yiming's head had reached half a mu in size. It was rare for a person's auspicious cloud to reach half a mu the moment he broke through to the true saint realm. Usually, only super geniuses with astonishing accumulations in the true saint realm could achieve this. Therefore, the experts present were shocked when they saw Lu Yiming's auspicious cloud reaching half a mu in size. Lu Yiming is indeed worthy of being called the Lu family's most talented genius. He has just broken through to the true saint realm and his auspicious cloud has already reached half a mu. With Lu Yiming's talent, he will definitely become a true saint king in the future. Not just a true saint king. Lu Yiming has the potential to surpass a true saint king. The great hall was in an uproar. Amidst the uproar, Lu Yiming's palm force slammed down on Lu Yiping's head. Just as Lu Yiping was about to be turned into meat paste by Lu Yiming's palm force, Lu Yiming's palm force stopped above Lu Yiping's head. The crowd was dumbfounded. Lu Yiping looked at the palm force above his head with an indifferent expression. Light flickered from his body, and with a slight shake, Lu Yiming's palm force was shattered. Lu Yiming and the crowd were stunned. At this time, Lu Yiping grabbed at Lu Yiming across the void. A shocking force enveloped Lu Yiming. Lu Yiming's heart skipped a beat, but he didn't have time to think. His palm met Lu Yiping's attack head-on. This attack contained the power of a minor path, much stronger than the previous attack. The power of a minor path. This is the spiritual path. The spiritual path was one of the top 100 minor paths among the 100,000 minor paths. When everyone saw that Lu Yiming had actually comprehended the spirit Tao, they were once again in an uproar. One had to know that Lu Yiming had just proven his Tao and become a saint, but he had already comprehended the spirit Tao, which was ranked in the top 100 of the 100,000 minor Das. Lu Yiping looked at Lu Yiming's incoming palm force, and his expression remained unchanged. His voice was calm, "It's just a minor path." Hearing this, Lu Yiming's face darkened. Just as he was about to speak, he saw Lu Yiping break through his palm energy, shattering the spiritual path in his palm energy. Lu Yiming's astonishing power continued to envelop him. Lu Yiming panicked and he roared. Saint energy surged out of his body, and a saber appeared in his hand. This saber was the saint weapon his father had forged for him. Over the past few days he had already refined it. Annihilation Saber Tao. Lu Yiming suddenly slashed out with his saber. Instantly, the saber light broke through layers of space and illuminated the Jotian. The entire Lu family's territory could see the saber light illuminating the Jotian. However, when Lu Yiming swung the Jotian saber light in an attempt to break through Lu Yiping's power, he heard a muffled sound. Not only did his saber light fail to break through Lu Yiping's power, but it was also repelled by the backlash. Lu Yiming was struck by the saber light. With a muffled sound, his robe was torn to shreds and he staggered back. Lu Yiping's power followed closely behind. Lu Yiming felt his body tighten, and then the space around him changed. His entire body was lifted up in front of Lu Yiping. Seeing Lu Yiping so close to him, Lu Yiming was shocked. When he wanted to attack Lu Yiping again, Lu Yiping grabbed his hand. With a twist, his entire palm was twisted into a fried dough twist. The hidden force in Lu Yiping's hand contained the power of the Grand Tao of Curses. The Grand Tao of Curses was ranked 13th among the 3,000 Grand Das. The power of the Grand Tao of Curses entered Lu Yiming's internal organs through his twisted palm and into his soul sea. Lu Yiming, who was engulfed by the power of the Grand Tao of Curses, couldn't help but scream in agony. It was so painful that tears almost fell from his eyes. Even though Lu Yiming was a true saint, he couldn't withstand the power of the Grand Tao of Curses. Looking at the sudden change, everyone was dumbfounded. From when Lu Yiming attacked, to when Lu Yiping captured him, to when Lu Yiping's palm was twisted into a fried dough twist, everything happened in the blink of an eye. Seeing Lu Yiming's palm twisted into a fried dough twist, and he was in so much pain that tears were about to fall from his eyes, everyone was dumbfounded. Who is he? Everyone turned to look at Lu Yiping, their eyes filled with shock. One of the disciples behind the purple firmament Holy King looked at Lu Yiming, who was about to cry, and exclaimed, "What's going on? Why is he in so much pain?" Lu Yiming was a true saint. Even if his body was being cut off bit by bit, he wouldn't feel any pain. The purple firmament Holy King stared at Lu Yiping. This young man has comprehended the Grand Tao of Curses. His disciple was only a peak true saint. He couldn't see the Grand Tao of Curses in Lu Yiping's hidden force, but it couldn't escape his perception. The Grand Tao of Curses, ranked 13th among the 3,000 Grand Das. The purple firmament Holy King's disciple, and the surrounding experts were shocked. Lu Yuchao stared at Lu Yiping and slowly walked over. Lu Yiping, no wonder you dared to come back. So you've already become a true saint. And from the looks of it, you've been a true saint for quite some time. You've even comprehended the Grand Tao of Curses. Lu Yuchao's words caused whispers in the Great Hall. I heard that the Lu family had a monstrous genius in the past. His talent was even higher than Lu Yiming's, but he went missing. Could it be him? Qin Lu looked at Lu Yiping, her beautiful eyes flashing. She was as famous as Lu Yiming, Wang He, and Zhu Shongjun, and she was the only female among the four. She had heard of some of Lu Yiping's achievements in the past. However, so what if you've become a true saint? So what if you've comprehended the grand Tao of curses? Lu Yuchao continued walking towards Lu Yiping. Today, no one can protect you. Lu Yuchao's eyes were filled with killing intent. When Lu Yiping left the Lu family, he and his father had sent several groups of assassins to hunt down Lu Yiping. Who would have thought that after several hundred years, not only was Lu Yiping still alive, but he had also become a true saint. This time, no matter what, he couldn't let Lu Yiping leave this place alive. He was well aware of Lu Yiping's talent. If Lu Yiping was given another 10 million years, he would most likely become a true saint just like him. As Lu Yuchao said this, he suddenly sent a palm strike towards Lu Yiping. When Lu Yuchao's palm struck out, the power of a true saint roared out. The power of a true saint was different from that of a true saint. The power of a true saint was five-colored and filled with the might of a true saint. Within Lu Yuchao's true saint, the power of Grand Tao filled the sky. 1132 Grand Das. Seeing Lu Yuchao's power of Grand Tao, the Purple Firmament Holy King, Daoyuo Holy King, and Origin Essence Holy King were shocked. It was rare for a true saint to comprehend 1000 Grand Das. However, Lu Yuchao had comprehended 1132 Grand Das. Among them there were 4 ultimate Grand Das. I didn't expect Lu Yuchao to have comprehended 1132 Grand Das. Qin Lu said to her father, Qin Liang. No wonder Lu Yuchao has the confidence to challenge the patriarch's position. Qin Liang smiled and said, with brother Yuchao's strength, challenging the patriarch's position shouldn't be a problem. Then, he looked at Lu Yiping and said, this Lu Yiping, what a pity. Seeing Lu Yiping's palm strike coming towards him, Lu Yiping's expression was calm as he raised his palm to meet it. Chapter 438. Everyone was stunned when they saw Lu Yiping raise his palm to meet Lu Yuchao's attack. This kid can't be thinking of taking on Lord Lu's attack as a sage, right? One of the Wang family's sages, Wang Lin, sneered. Everyone laughed at his words. Although sages were strong, they were nothing before a sage king. Lu Yiping wanted to block Lu Yuchao's attack as a sage? It was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Suddenly everyone froze. They saw Lu Yiping's palm strike and 5-colored light surged out. The intensity of the 5-colored light actually overshadowed Lu Yuchao's 5-colored light. Sage King's power. The Wang family's sage Wang Lin's expression changed greatly as he stuttered. Everyone's expression changed greatly. This Lu Yiping wasn't a sage but a sage king. Lu Yuchao was also in disbelief. Which sage king in the chaos world didn't cultivate for 100 million years before breaking through to the sage king realm? However, Lu Yiping had only cultivated for a few million years. In just a few million years, Lu Yiping had actually become a sage king. Even Qin Liang, Qin Lu, and the others were shocked. Lu Yiming, who was being held captive by Lu Yiping, was even more shocked. He couldn't believe it. As for Lu Yu, her face was deathly pale and her eyes were filled with fear. She was so frightened that she almost fainted. Shortly after, Grand Das rushed out from Lu Yiping's palm strike. Lu Yuchao's 1132 Grand Das became sparse before Lu Yiping's Grand Das. 2000 Grand Das. Holy King Origin Essence exclaimed when he saw Lu Yiping's Grand Das. He had cultivated for nearly 200 million years and had only comprehended slightly over 900 Grand Das. Lu Yuchao's 1132 Grand Das was already shocking enough. But now Lu Yiping had 2000 Grand Das. 9 Supreme Grand Das. Moreover, among Lu Yiping's 2000 Grand Das, there were 9 Supreme Grand Das. Fate, Time, Immortal, Devil, Karma, Reincarnation, Destruction, Creation, and the 5 Elements. Other than the Great Tao ranked first, Lu Yiping had actually succeeded in comprehending all of the other 9 Great Tao. Lu Yuchao, Qin Liang, Daoyuo Sacred King, Hunyuan Sacred King, and Purple Firmament Sacred King were all stunned. The Chaos Realm had existed for hundreds of millions of years, and there seemed to only be 2 or 3 people who could comprehend 2,000 great Daos at the Saint King realm. Bang! Lu Yiping's palm energy and Lu Youchao's palm energy collided. Time and space turned upside down, the sun and moon sank, and the sky changed color as a terrifying force swept out. Retreat! Daluo Sacred King, Hunyuan Sacred King, Purple Firmament Sacred King, and the others cried out in alarm. At the same time, they protected their disciples and retreated in panic. The materials used to construct the Lu family's main hall were undoubtedly the strongest Chaos-grade materials in the Chaos realm. The Lu family's main hall was reinforced by the array formations set up by the experts of the main hall. But just as everyone retreated, they saw the Lu family's main hall being blasted away and reduced to dust in midair. As for Lu Youchao, he retreated again and again, knocking down countless buildings in the Lu family. Finally, he fell out of the Lu family's main hall and crashed into a mountain peak outside the city. The mountain peak crumbled. Rocks rolled down. The dust continued for a long time. Lu Jiqing, who followed behind Lu Yiping, was stunned when she saw this scene. The few Lu family ancestors who heard the commotion and came over were also stunned when they saw this scene from afar. Lu Yiping. Ancestor Snow looked at Lu Yiping and exclaimed in surprise. Lord Ancestor Snow. Lu Yiping nodded. Lord Flame Ancestor, save me. Lu Yiping suddenly cried out to the few Lu family ancestors who came over. Among the Lu family ancestors, an old man clad in scarlet flame battle armor stepped forward. He looked at Lu Yiping with unconcealable fear in his eyes. Although he had been a Saint King for longer than Lu Youchao, his strength was still slightly weaker than Lu Youchao's. Lu Yiping, we are all members of the Lu family. Why must we kill each other? Ancestor Lu Yongji stammered. Release Yiping and Lu Yu first. Release them? Lu Yiping smiled indifferent. Back then, Lu Youchao and Lu Yiping sent people to kill me. Why didn't you ask Lu Youchao to let me go? Lu Yongji didn't know how to respond. Lu Yiping flicked his finger and Lu Yu, who was being carried over by Lu Yiping, exploded. Lu Yongji and the others watched Lu Yu explode into a mist of blood with an ugly expression. At this time Lu Youchao flew out from the mountain rocks. Seeing his daughter exploding from Lu Yiping's finger, Lu Youchao's eyes were bloodshot. In a flicker, his fists punched out at Lu Yiping. As he punched at Lu Yiping, the auspicious cloud above Lu Youchao's head emitted a golden glow as his Saint King aura surged madly. Although Lu Youchao's auspicious cloud was less than 1 mu in size, it was already very close. Close to 100 million units of Saint King aura flowed out from his fists, turning into countless golden dragons that shot towards Lu Yiping. Watching Lu Youchao charging at him, Lu Yiping also summoned his auspicious cloud. In an instant, auspicious golden light illuminated the surroundings. When Lu Yongji, Ancestor Shui, Qinliang, and the others saw the auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head, they were dumbfounded. Lu Yiping punched out with both fists. When Lu Yiping punched out with both fists, Lu Youchao felt a terrifying power that made his heart palpitate through the layers of space and press down on him. Once again Lu Youchao was sent flying. This time he smashed through a mountain peak and fell to the ground. The experts present sucked in a breath of cold air. Lu Yongji, who had just advised Lu Yiping to release Lu Yiming and Lu Yu, felt his legs trembling uncontrollably. Lu Yiping looked at Lu Yiming, only to see the latter looking back at him with fear. It was as if he was scared speechless. However, Lu Yiping did not kill Lu Yiming immediately. Although Lu Yiming had just stepped into Saint King, he was still a Saint King. His Dao fruit would be of great use to his younger sister. Therefore, Lu Yiping sealed Lu Yiming's strength and threw him into the cauldron of heaven and earth for Jian Shu to devour. After throwing Lu Yiming into the cauldron of heaven and earth, Lu Yiping took a step forward and arrived in front of Lu Youchao. Lu Youchao suddenly turned into a billion rays of sword qi, attacking Lu Yiping once again. Lu Yiping stood there, his hands moving. No matter how the sword qi attacked, as long as it came close to him, it would be deflected. When Lu Yiping finally deflected the last sword qi, Lu Yiping punched into the depths of the void. Lu Youchao was sent flying out from the void. Then Lu Yiping swung Mount Buzhou and sent Lu Youchao flying. Lu Yuchao was sent flying, vomiting blood. Mount Buzhou! Qin Lu exclaimed. There were many Mount Buzhou stones in the Chaos world, and she had collected many of them. However, whether it was her or the other experts in the Chaos world, no one had been able to restore Mount Buzhou's vitality. After Lu Yiping sent Lu Yuchao flying, he took a step forward and arrived in front of Lu Yuchao, swinging Mount Buzhou out once more. Just like that, Lu Yiping swung Mount Buzhou continuously for several dozen times before stopping. Chapter 439. After Lu Yiping stopped, everyone looked at Lu Yuchao's injured body, and their faces twitched uncontrollably. After Lu Yuchao was struck by Mount Buzhou dozens of times, the Saint King weapon on his body had already shattered. His face was swollen like a pig's head, and many parts of his body were smashed into a bloody mess. His whole person was unrecognizable. Everyone looked at Lu Yiping with fear on their faces. Even the Purple Firmament Holy King, Origin Holy King, Gran Luo Holy King, Qin Liang, and the other Lu family's primal ancestors felt like their hearts were about to stop. Lu Yongji and the other Lu family's primal ancestors who were supporting Lu Yuchao had lost all thoughts of stopping Lu Yuchao. Among them, the strongest was only on par with Lu Yuchao. Lu Yiping brought Lu Yuchao, who had been tortured beyond recognition, before him. Lu Yiping, aren't you afraid that the solitary ancestor will be angry? Lu Yuchao glared at Lu Yiping, shocked and angry at the same time. The solitary ancestor was the Lu family's strongest primal ancestor. So what if he is angry? Lu Yiping's eyes were cold. Lu Yuchao was about to speak when Lu Yiping punched him in the chest, piercing through his heart. Lu Yuchao screamed in pain. Everyone's eyelids twitched. Lu Yiping sealed Lu Yuchao's strength and threw him into the cauldron of heaven and earth. Lu Yiping appeared in front of his younger sister, Lu Jiqing. Lu Jiqing's face was filled with shock. Clearly, she hadn't recovered from the scene of Lu Yiping torturing Lu Yuchao. Little sister, let's go, Lu Yiping said. Hearing Lu Yiping's familiar and warm voice, Lu Jiqing responded with an "oh." Then she followed behind Lu Yiping with a dazed expression, leaving the scene. When Lu Yiping passed by Lu Yongji, he glanced at Lu Yongji. Lu Yongji's heart thumped wildly. But in the end, Lu Yiping didn't say anything. Watching Lu Yiping leave with Lu Jiqing, no one dared to stop them. It wasn't until a long time after Lu Yiping left that scene that the scene returned to normal. What a pity! The head of the Qin clan, Qin Liang, sighed as he watched Lu Yiping's departing figure. He didn't know if it was because Lu Yiping hadn't been able to fight with Lu Yongji, or because of Lu Yuchao's fate. Let's go back. Lu Yiping, and Lu Yiping, and Lu Yiping himself. Origin Yong and the ancestor. The Lu Luan and the Luan's Lees, and the Lu Lu's Lu. Lu's. Very quickly, the originally bustling Lu family main residence became quiet and desolate. When Lu Jiqing followed Lu Yiping back to her palace, her mind was still in a mess. She couldn't stop thinking about the scene where Lu Yuchao was beaten up by Lu Yiping. If you have anything to say, just ask. Lu Yiping smiled at Lu Jiqing. Lu Jiqing opened her mouth but shook her head. I just didn't expect Big Brother to break through to the Holy King realm so quickly. Lu Yiping smiled. I also just broke through to the Holy King realm not long ago. Just broke through? Lu Jiqing was stunned. Just broke through and Qingyun's cultivation had reached 1 mu? Big Brother, Lu Pailin will be alerted about Lu Yuchao's matter. Lu Jiqing suddenly said with a worried face. Lu Pailin was Lu Yuchao's biological brother. Although he had left the Lu manor for some years, he knew that Lu Yuchao and Lu Yiming would definitely return. Don't worry, your big brother can deal with Lu Pailin. Lu Yiping smiled. Lu Jiqing was stunned. Big Brother, you don't understand Lu Pailin's strength. Lu Pailin's Qingyun has already condensed 3 mu. Although Lu Yuchao was also a Holy King realm expert, his Qingyun didn't even reach 1 mu. However, Lu Pailin's Qingyun had already condensed 3 mu, more than 3 times. Lu Pailin's strength was obviously more than 3 times Lu Yuchao's. Lu Pailin's Qingyun was 3 times Lu Yuchao's. but his battle strength was at least 10 times Lu Youchao's. Lu Yiping's Qingyun was only 1 mu. Hearing his sister say that Lu Pailan's Qingyun had already condensed 3 mu, Lu Yiping smiled. Don't worry, Lu Pailan can't beat me. Although his Qingyun was only 1 mu, after devouring Lu Youchao's Dao fruit, his Qingyun had grown to more than 1 mu. Is my old palace still there? Lu Yiping asked Lu Jiqing, changing the topic. Hearing Lu Yiping ask about her old palace, Lu Jiqing smiled. It's still there. I've been cleaning it every few days these past few years. Just like back then. Lu Yiping smiled. Is that so? Afterwards, Lu Jiqing brought Lu Yiping to Lu Yiping's old palace. Lu Yiping's palace was much grander than Lu Jiqing's. Lu Jiqing said, these past few years, Lu Yiming has coveted Big Brother's palace many times, wanting to arrange for his women to move in. Fortunately, Ancestor Shui stopped him. Then she added, these past few years, if it wasn't for Ancestor Shui, I would have been killed by Lu Yiming and Lu Yu. Lu Yiping nodded and pushed open the palace's doors. What entered his eyes was a small stone pavilion with the word 1 carved on it. The word 1 was inscribed by his father. Looking at the word his father left on the stone pavilion, Lu Yiping asked, is there still no news from father and mother? Before Lu Yiping left the Lu family, his parents had gone to the outskirts of the universe and hadn't returned since. The outskirts of the universe have changed. The airflow is terrifying. Now even Ancestor Shui and the others can't enter. Lu Jiqing said in a low voice. Lu Yiping didn't say anything. Then, he walked around his palace with his sister. Everything in the palace was still there, no different from what he remembered. Lu Yiping's heart warmed. He said to his sister, it's been hard on you these past few years. Lu Jiqing shook her head. It's not hard on me. It's Big Brother who has suffered outside. The two siblings chatted for a while. It was already late, so Lu Jiqing returned to her palace first. Lu Yiping returned to the stone pavilion, thinking about his parents. In the past, his parents had brought him back from the outskirts of the universe. When his parents brought him back to the Lu family, they said that his mother gave birth to him in the outskirts of the universe. However, many people in the Lu family believed that Lu Yiping wasn't his parents' child. In these past few years, Lu Yiping had merged with the Fortune J disc. He felt that his identity wasn't simple. Therefore, he had to make a trip to the outskirts of the universe. Although his parents had gone missing for many years, he felt that they were still alive. If he could find his parents, he might be able to unravel the mystery of his birth. After staying in the stone pavilion for a while, Lu Yiping returned to his room. He threw Lu Yiming and Lu Youchao out, summoned the creation tree, and began to devour them. While Lu Yiping was devouring Lu Yiming and Lu Youchao with the creation tree, Lu Yongji and the other Lu family ancestors gathered together to discuss Lu Yiping. This Lu Yiping is too presumptuous. Lu Yongji's face was filled with anger. Does he have any regard for the Lu family's rules? Let's report this to the solitary ancestor. Another ancestor, Lu Feng, said solemnly. Chapter 440. Yongji, can you still contact Brother Pailan? Lu family's progenitor Lu Bing suddenly asked Lu Yongji. Lu Yongji shook his head. No one can contact Brother Pailan now, but the news about the Lu family will spread soon. Brother Pailan will definitely come back when he hears the news. Lu Feng sneered. When Brother Pailan comes back, let's wait for a good show. After Holy King Primordial Chaos and the others left, the news of Lu Youchao and Lu Yiming spread quickly. Somewhere in the chaos world, an ordinary-looking gray-haired old man heard the discussion in the restaurant. His figure flashed and he disappeared on the spot, rushing back to the Lu family. One night passed. 2 Dao fruits appeared on the tree of achievement. One was white and the other was yellow. The white one was very small, and it belonged to Lu Yiming. The yellow one belonged to Lu Youchao. Although it was only the size of a fist, it contained the power of a holy king. It was far superior to the Imba race's holy lord and the ruler of the immortal world, Hao Tian. Lu Yiping killed Lu Yiming and Lu Youchao with a finger force. He then took Lu Youchao's Dao fruit and began to refine it. Lu Youchao's Dao fruit turned into a torrential heat that flowed into his auspicious cloud and body. Lu Yiping's auspicious cloud expanded at a speed visible to the naked eye. When Lu Yiping finished refining Lu Youchao's Dao fruit, the auspicious cloud had expanded by half a circle, reaching 1.5 mu in size. Coming out from his room, Lu Yiping went to his sister Lu Jiqing's courtyard. Seeing Lu Jiqing practicing with the Jade Rainbow Sword, he couldn't help but smile. "You've been practicing with the Jade Rainbow Sword all these years?" Lu Jiqing smiled sweetly. "The Emerald Rainbow Sword was given to me by Big Brother. I've always kept it with me." Lu Yiping smiled and found a sword in the cauldron of heaven and earth. He passed it to Lu Jiqing. "You've already broken through to the heavenly venerable realm. The Emerald Rainbow Sword's grade is a little low." Lu Jiqing received the sword and asked in surprise, "Is this a saint artifact?" Lu Yiping smiled and said, "This is the sword that Big Brother obtained after killing the sacred master of the embark race in the lower bound. Big Brother refined it again. You can use this sword in the future." Lu Jiqing smiled and said, "Thank you, Big Brother." Afterwards, Lu Yiping took out Lu Yiming's Dao fruit and showed it to Lu Jiqing. Lu Jiqing knew that the Dao fruit was too precious and wanted to refuse, but under Lu Yiping's insistence, she accepted it. After Lu Jiqing put away the Dao fruit, Ancestor Snow came over. When Ancestor Shui saw Lu Yiping again, he could not help but sigh. He had a good chat with Lu Yiping. In the Lu clan, aside from his parents and younger sister, Lu Yiping was closest to Matriarch Snow. He remembered that Matriarch Snow was his introductory spell formation teacher. Looking at Lu Yiping chatting with him, Ancestor Snow was gratified. He asked Lu Yiping about the outside world in the past few years. While chatting, Lu Yiping also asked Ancestor Snow about the current situation of the Chaos Realm. Lu Yiping frowned when he learned about the current situation in the Chaos Realm. The Chaos Realm was very big, so big that it was boundless. However, there were countless barbarian and demon tribes living around it. The demon tribes in the Chaos Realm had existed since the Desolate Era, or even before that. Ruled by the demon ancestor Rahu, they were very strong, far stronger than the lower world's demons. The barbarian race's ancestor was no less powerful than Rahu. He was also one of the Khanate demon gods, someone who had existed since before the creation of the world. The barbarian and demon tribes often wreaked havoc in the Chaos Realm. In recent years, the barbarian and demon tribes had joined hands, causing the Chaos Realm to be unstable. The King of Chaos doesn't care? Lu Yiping asked. The master of the Chaos Realm was called Longcheng, one of the Khanate demon gods. He'd once received guidance from Pengu and was now in charge of the Chaos Realm. Ancestor Snow shook his head. "I've heard that Lord Longqing has been in seclusion for many years. His disciples have been in charge of the Chaos Realm for the past few million years." Then he said, "His disciples only know how to fight for power and enjoy. They turn a blind eye to the matters of the barbarian race and the demon race." His words were filled with dissatisfaction with Longqing's disciples. In fact, many patriarchs and patriarchs are dissatisfied with Lord Longqing's disciples, but they don't dare say it out loud for Lord Longqing's sake. Ancestor Snow continued, "Lord Longqing's disciples are fine, but his grand disciples are even worse. They're all bullies." Lu Yiping asked, "What about Uncle Yi?" "Uncle Yi?" Ancestor Snow was puzzled. Lu Yiping reacted, "Lord Wuchen." Ancestor Snow explained, "Lord Wuchen hasn't appeared in many years. Some say he's gone looking for the World Carver Divine Axe. He's not in the Chaos Realm right now." "What? The World Carver Divine Axe?" Lu Yiping exclaimed. Ancestor Snow nodded. "Yes, but no one knows for sure. Lord Wuchen shouldn't be in the Chaos Realm right now. But the World Carver Divine Axe belongs to Lord Pengu. How can it be so easily subdued?" Lu Yiping nodded. "The World Carver Divine Axe, huh?" He thought inwardly. In the lower realms, he'd also been looking for news about the World Carver Divine Axe and the Earthsplitter Chisel. "Ancestor Snow, have you heard of the Chaos Realm's Jade Disc of Fortune?" Lu Yiping asked. "Jade Disc of Fortune?" Ancestor Snow pondered. "I've heard that Lord Longqing has been in seclusion all these years because he obtained a Jade Disc of Fortune. He's been refining it." "Longqing has the Jade Disc of Fortune?" Lu Yiping was taken aback. Ancestor Snow said, I'm very sure about this. However, you can go and see Peng Dongyuan of the Eternal Chamber of Commerce. It's said that Lord Longqing obtained the Jade Disc of Fortune from Peng Dongyuan. The Eternal Chamber of Commerce was the largest chamber of commerce in the Chaos Realm. Peng Dongyuan was its president. Peng Dongyuan. Lu Yiping noted it down. Yiping, how do you plan to deal with Lu Yuchao and Lu Yiming? Ancestor Snow hesitated for a moment before asking. Lu Yiping said, I've already killed the two of them. Killed? Ancestor Snow was shocked. Lu Yiping grunted. This is... Ancestor Snow couldn't digest the news. Lu Jiqing's eyes widened when she heard that Lu Yiping had killed Lu Yuchao and Lu Yiming. You're too reckless. Ancestor Snow's face was bitter. He didn't know what to say. He wanted to reprimand Lu Yiping, but Lu Yiping wasn't someone he could reprimand. The news of you capturing Lu Yiming and Lu Yuchao spread like wildfire. Maybe Lu Yongji already knows about it. Ancestor Snow said, if you didn't kill them, there's still room to turn things around. Now that you've killed them, what should we do? He paced back and forth anxiously. Don't worry, Ancestor Snow. Lu Yiping is still not my match. Lu Yiping said. Ancestor Snow stopped and looked at Lu Yiping in astonishment. You're confident? Lu Yiping said, 70 to 80%. Ancestor Snow looked at Lu Yiping for a while. After confirming that Lu Yiping wasn't joking, he relaxed. A while later, Ancestor Snow left. After Ancestor Snow left, Lu Yiping left the Lu residence and flew to the Eternal Chamber of Commerce's headquarters. Chapter 441. The Eternal Chamber of Commerce's headquarters was quite a distance away from the Lu family's main residence, but to Lu Yiping, it was only half a day's journey. With Lu Yiping flying at full speed, the Eternal Chamber of Commerce's headquarters came into view in half a day's time. The Eternal Chamber of Commerce's headquarters was grand and magnificent, with rows upon rows of palaces densely packed together. It was probably as big as a supercontinent in the lower realm. When Lu Yiping arrived at the entrance of the Eternal Chamber of Commerce's headquarters, he was stopped by the patrolling disciples of the Eternal Chamber of Commerce. Lu Yiping didn't hide his identity and said that he wanted to see Peng Dongyuan. When the Eternal Chamber of Commerce's disciples learned of Lu Yiping's identity, they jumped in fright and hurriedly bowed in greeting before turning around to report to their president Peng Dongyuan. At this time, inside the Eternal Chamber of Commerce's headquarters, Peng Dongyuan was receiving two young men. These two young men's identities were not simple. They were the King of Chaos's grand disciples. Chun Delin looked at the decorations inside the Eternal Chamber of Commerce's main hall and smiled at Peng Dongyuan. President Peng really knows how to enjoy life. Compared to the Eternal Chamber of Commerce's main hall, our residence is like a dirt nest. Chao Ning laughed. Who doesn't know that President Peng is the Chaos World's wealthiest lord? Peng Dongyuan smiled modestly. How can my little bit of money compare to the King of Chaos? Not to mention the King of Chaos, even Lord Wuxia is richer than me. Chun Delin smiled. The Thousand Dragons Tavern's business is really good. Then he half-jokingly said, I heard that President Peng has a good relationship with Lord Wuxia. Why don't you talk to Lord Wuxia? We also want to invest in the Thousand Dragons Tavern. Peng Dongyuan paused for a moment, but his smile remained the same. You two must be joking. My relationship with Lord Wuxia is only a so-so. The rumors outside cannot be trusted, cannot be trusted. Chao Ning did not continue on this topic, saying, President Peng, we won't beat around the bush with you. We're here for the Grand Mist Aura. We know that you have some Grand Mist Aura, you can name the price. Peng Dongyuan's smile disappeared as he looked at Chun Delin and Chao Ning, saying, I believe both of you know how precious the Grand Mist Aura is. It took me a lot of effort to collect it. To be honest, I don't have much on me right now. I only have 3,000 plus strands of primordial aura, which is only enough for me to cultivate for a few dozen years. Therefore, I will not sell them. Chao Ning smiled and said, President Peng, you don't have to reject us so quickly. Let's see what we brought. He took out a golden jade box and opened the restriction on the jade box. Inside the jade box was a small bucket of golden liquid. It glowed with a golden light and was somewhat viscous. It emitted a strange fragrance, and even the layers of space were unable to block this fragrance. Peng Dongyuan's eyes burned with desire. Golden Spirit Jade Liquid. The Golden Spirit Jade Liquid was a connate item. Even for a Saint King Realm Master, it was a great tonic. It was no wonder that Peng Dongyuan's eyes were burning. Chandelin smiled and said, although the Grand Mist Aura is a treasure, the Golden Spirit Jade Liquid is also a rare treasure. These innate treasures are becoming less and less used after splitting open the heavens. President Peng, what do you think? Peng Dongyuan retracted his gaze and shook his head. I'm sorry, I'm not exchanging. Chandelin and Chao Ning's smiles froze. Although this Golden Spirit Jade Liquid is also a rare treasure and is very useful to me, it's still lacking compared to the Grand Mist Aura. Moreover, the amount of Golden Spirit Jade Liquid you brought is too little. You want to exchange this small bucket for more than 3,000 strands of Grand Mist Aura? Peng Dongyuan said. Chao Ning pondered for a moment, then said, in that case, we'll exchange for 1,000 strands of Grand Mist Aura. Peng Dongyuan shook his head without hesitation. Not even 1,000 strands of Grand Mist Aura. Chandelin's face sank at Peng Dongyuan's words. President Peng, you won't even give us this little face? Peng Dongyuan glanced at Chandelin and smiled. This is not a matter of face or not. If the Eternal Chamber of Commerce was all about face, it would have closed down a long time ago. Chao Ning stared at Peng Dongyuan, smiling. President Peng, how many strands of Grand Mist Aura do you think we can exchange for? Peng Dongyuan smiled. Since the two of you insist on exchanging for Grand Mist Aura, then for Lord Longqing's sake, I can exchange for 200 strands of Grand Mist Aura. 200 strands. Chandelin and Chao Ning's faces turned ugly at Peng Dongyuan's offer. Initially, they had planned to exchange for 500 strands of Grand Mist Aura, but now Peng Dongyuan was only offering them 200 strands. At this time, an Eternal Chamber of Commerce expert strode into the hall, reporting to Peng Dongyuan, Lord President outside. Lu family's Lord Lu Yiping wishes to see you, saying he wants to discuss business with you. Lu family's Lu Yiping? Peng Dongyuan was astonished. Chandelin and Chao Ning also stopped in their tracks. Although the Lu family's sacred assembly had happened not long ago, Peng Dongyuan, Chandelin, and Chao Ning had already heard about it. Invite him in, Peng Dongyuan said after regaining his senses. But just as the Eternal Chamber of Commerce expert was about to leave, Peng Dongyuan called out, no need, I'll go personally. With Lu Yiping's current strength, it was worth it for Peng Dongyuan to personally go out and invite him. Chandelin and Chao Ning, however, remained seated. When Peng Dongyuan arrived at the Chamber of Commerce's main entrance, he saw Lu Yiping in his blue robe. Peng Dongyuan exchanged some pleasantries with Lu Yiping before inviting Lu Yiping into the Chamber of Commerce's main hall. Inside the main hall, Peng Dongyuan introduced Lu Yiping to Chandelin and Chao Ning. Chandelin and Chao Ning did not stand up, merely nodding at Lu Yiping as a form of greeting. Lu Yiping's expression was indifferent towards the two of them. After taking a seat, Peng Dongyuan asked Lu Yiping, I heard from my subordinates that fellow Taoist Yiping wants to discuss business with me? Lu Yiping nodded, then glanced at Chandelin and Chao Ning. Peng Dongyuan smiled. Fellow Taoist Yiping, please speak your mind. I heard that Lord Longqing obtained a fortune jade disc from President Peng? Lu Yiping asked without hesitation. Peng Dongyuan was stunned. Chandelin and Chao Ning stared at Lu Yiping. The three of them did not expect Lu Yiping to be here for the fortune jade disc. Peng Dongyuan pondered for a moment, then said, there is indeed such a matter. Since this matter had already spread, he had nothing to hide. Fellow Taoist Yiping is here for the fortune jade disc? However, I only have one fortune jade disc in my possession. I want to know where President Peng found the fortune jade disc in the past? Lu Yiping asked, then added, as long as President Peng tells me the details of how you found the fortune jade disc, I will give you 10,000 strands of Grand Mist Aura. 10,000 strands of Grand Mist Aura. Peng Dongyuan, Chandelin, and Chao Ning exclaimed in unison. That's right. Lu Yiping said. A bright light flashed around his body, and Grand Mist Aura coiled around him. There were exactly 10,000 strands of Grand Mist Aura. Currently, Jianshu was producing tens of millions of strands of grand mist aura every day. These 10,000 strands of grand mist aura were just a hair from 9 oxen to Jianshu. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.